Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
Mike Vrabel had his opening press conference with the national media. He does love himself some Karen Garigian.
He does. Zoe was in particular, gushing.
He was gushing. That's a change, I think, throughout sports. A little bit more work-life balance. Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I hate it. I'm coming to the end, Paul. And what are they going to do? Fire me? Now, his suggestion, can you please stop letting Evan Lazar speak about anything other than football? Maybe someone should tell him to sit out the non-football talk moving forward to avoid continuing to embarrass himself and frustrate the audience. I love what he adds to the draft talk, although he is no Barth. Ooh, that's gonna hurt. He's the Elaine Bennis of the show as a feminine, slightly annoying side character. Wow. That might be an email of the week.
Did you ever ask Fred what the circulation numbers were for the newspaper?
What were the circulation
Who's
numbers?
asking?
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Thursday here at Gillette Stadium. The Combine goes on. It's Alex, it's Paul, it's me. Evan and Deuce are at the Combine. Will they be calling in, Matt? Yes, they will be at some
forward
point.
to that. I want to find out if either one of them have been involved in any altercations of any
Well,
sort.
did you hear about that?
They'll be joining us around 1:15.
Have I heard of it? Come on, I live for that.
Poor
What, are you
little
kidding me?
Ian Rappaport and Jordan Schultz, is that his name?
Jordan Schultz, yes.
Yeah. I didn't know that he was the son of somebody big.
Yeah. I don't know.
Howard
I don't know.
Schultz, founder of Starbucks.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
CEO. But
and is that where the altercation happened? At a Starbucks?
At a Starbucks.
Isn't that
ironically.
interesting?
Yeah.
But this Jordan Schultz is like he's a social media.
He works for Fox.
Oh, he does?
I believe.
Oh, okay.
I
So
think
he's a real person.
Yeah. Well, no. Well, yes, he's a real person. He got in an altercation with Ian.
No, I know,
Rappaport.
but yeah.
I think he is sort of working his way into that national media picture.
Yeah.
I don't know a whole lot about him other than what Alex said.
He wants to be like a Schefter, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Well, not a lot of people. I think he's trying to play it under the radar who his dad is, too.
I'm sure he
But
is.
I'm pretty confident that their home, I don't know if it's out in California, had like a basketball court that was modeled like the Staples Center or the former Staples Center.
wow.
So I think that's how he got in with a lot of athletes because it was like a flex to go to
So
the Schultz
how
house to
old
play
is
on
he?
the.
Because when I hear the name Jordan Schultz, my image is a guy who's about 58 years old, heavy.
He's young.
No.
Yeah, right.
He's younger than
I
that.
would
Right.
say,
So he
like-
sounds like he's young.
It's probably like Alex's age.
I would say a little older than me, mid 30s, wife, kids.
Okay.
Oh, he's got a wife and kids.
Has a wife and kids.
I didn't think he would be even that old.
Yeah. So anyway, it all started with Tom Brady because it ties. Everything comes back to the Patriots.
Right.
So it was a report that Jordan Schultz started that Tom Brady ran into.
No. Schultz reported that he met with Matthew Stafford.
Well,
Rappaport said it was he happened to
So
run
anyway, they
into.
were at the same place skiing, and
Okay.
and Jordan Schultz said that they met and hung out, and Rappaport came out and said that's nonsense. They just had an interaction. They just happened to be at the same place. Nothing more than that. And Jordan Schultz took offense at that and confronted him at a Starbucks and said, "We need to talk." And this is all what I'm reading. He said, "We need to talk," and Rappaport says, "No, we don't. We have nothing to talk about." And
Then he ran and got security.
yeah, it got really close.
Who got security?
Rappaport, and it got really close. And Rappaport said, "You need to step back a little bit," and he reported it to security because it had the potential of being a physical altercation. So.
Yeah.
But people love the media on media stuff.
Well, it's really funny because
I'm here for it.
it's hilarious that Rappaport
they're
just
gonna
like
get
ran and
it.
called security.
I think that is the underlying
have a word
funniest
about
part
it?
of the whole thing.
Well, he felt
Take care
threatened.
of it.
He felt threatened.
Was Jordan Schultz gonna physically fight him?
Well, he did
in
say
a
that. He said, "We're
Starbucks?"
going to have a problem."
Yeah, but that's not like I'm gonna punch you in
And
the face.
F words were dropped by Schultz.
Yeah. Now
Well, he says he didn't.
He says he didn't.
Yeah.
But
All the articles I'm reading have the F
Yeah.
word involved.
I'm sure there were a lot
Well,
of
they-
witnesses.
that's the only
There
part.
will be
But that's the only part of
camera
the story he
footage.
disputes. He says
Yeah.
he didn't use all
So
that.
the question
profanity.
is, was Evan or Deuce in the area
well,
when
that's
it happened?
right. Which is why
Right.
I used that.
Right.
To find out what they've been involved in, who they've been fighting.
Yeah.
I'm kind of Team Schultz, I think.
Yeah.
I'm so in the story, whose side are you taking? Like, is it at all plausible to you that Matthew Stafford happened to bump into Tom Brady
Yes.
completely
No,
coincidentally
so I
in Montana?
yes, I think as many of these
The rich
things
people
happen,
go to Montana,
I think there's this side, and then there's the truth. And I think that there's a little bit of truth in everything. I think that this ski resort is high up there. And
Yeah.
I think there is a chance that a guy like Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford would be in the same place like that. And the question is, let's say you're buying that. Once they did bump into each other, how much time did they spend? And did Brady look at that as an opportunity to do a little recruiting? That's the thing.
Yeah, well-
so the fact that, here's the thing. The fact that Schultz's thing comes out and then Rappaport's so quick to come out with the rebuttal means that somebody knew that
Set
would
this
be a
straight.
violation. We got to
Yeah.
set this straight. Let's
Correct.
go to Rappaport.
That's why
But
I
why
believe
not go
Schultz.
why not go to Schultz and straighten it out?
Because Rappaport has the bigger platform.
Or Schultz knows what really happened, and there's no sense in doing that.
Yeah, it's
So
probably
I don't know.
something. It's
I
probably
don't know.
something like that.
Yeah.
I agree, Freddie.
Yeah.
But in
So
my
this
view,
is why Tom Brady should not be doing what he's doing. Either you come to the Patriots or
it'd be okay if he tampered, if he was with the Patriots.
But don't do that. You're going to get yourself in trouble because if it is true that he spent more than just a hey, how you doing, see you later, that's a violation. That's a tampering violation.
Yeah,
But again, they'll never prove it.
and now that they've given him permission anyway, you could make an argument, whatever. But I think it was orchestrated. I think that they had planned to meet there. It's too much of a coincidence to me that he bumped into a guy whose team just gave him permission to seek a trade.
So
That's-
this was
that
after
to me
they,
is too big of a.
This happened after they gave him permission.
No, I'm just saying they've given him permission, and whenever it happened,
no,
it
but
happened.
it makes a big deal.
No, but I'm saying it's a guy who is out there.
I know.
Like, I'm not saying whether or not it's a violation.
Okay.
Like,
So-
I'm not here.
Yeah.
I don't really care about tampering. To me,
Yeah.
it should be allowed. I don't really understand why they have to all be treated like children.
Yeah.
You can't talk to him. No, you go in the corner. You can't talk.
well,
Not during
if
this
I'm an
time.
owner, I don't
Fine.
want people screwing with my players.
But that whole thing is irrelevant to me. If you want to fine the Raiders, fine the Raiders. I don't. I don't care. But it's too like I'm Team Schultz because I think that it's unrealistic.
Yep.
For this whole
Too
scenario. And I'm
coincidental.
not telling you it never happens. I think there's even a story that when Matthew Stafford originally got traded to the Rams, he bumped into Sean McVay in Cabo.
That's true.
Something like that. So
Right.
I'm not telling you it's impossible to have a chance meeting. To Alex's point, this is where rich people go
Right.
on vacation and stuff.
Right.
That
And
happens.
maybe they did bump into each other, but Tom's not going to say, hey, I have a beautiful home here. Come check it out.
Yeah.
Like, come hang.
I just don't think that it
Have
was
some
an
mocktails.
innocent meeting the way Rappaport tried to,
No, I think Jordan.
working for the NFL, tried
Rappaport
to
is
sweep it under the rug.
beholden to his sources. They probably wanted the narrative fixed to avoid any penalty. And Schultz is the son of a billionaire, and he's not beholden to anyone. He can say whatever
It's
he
a
wants
great
on
point.
Twitter.
The fact that he has that kind of juice says, no, I'm not just going to back down.
So this isn't over yet, right? Would you say this has
No,
legs?
we might get round two at dunks today.
Yeah.
Who
this,
knows?
this has legs, as they say in the media.
I mean, that's what you have to do. That's
Yeah.
why they were at Starbucks, so you can't actually have a physical confrontation. They got to go to dunks today.
Right.
Where you can
That's
roll
where you throw
well,
down.
Schultz would
You can
have the
roll up your
power to
sleeves.
hide
Yeah.
it, get all the security footage.
Yeah,
He owns the place.
The most that can happen at Starbucks, you might get a croissant thrown at you, but at Dunkin', you
Some
throw
hot
down.
coffee water.
You throw down.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Right. So I'll be curious to see what Mike and Ev have to say today.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's
Evan's a big
it is an
Starbucks guy,
interesting.
so it's
I
plausible.
mean, it's an interesting NFL story too. Like
Sure.
the Stafford thing. The Raiders obviously are interested. A lot of people have talked about the Giants. That this again back to the Patriots. It could impact the Patriots. The Giants were one of the three teams that pick ahead of New England.
yep.
If they were able to swing a deal for Stafford, I personally think that Stafford's going to end up staying with the Rams. I think there's probably some negotiation going on here. And there were, the Patriots, Belichick did this
I don't
occasionally.
know, Paul. I think that some teams that are really needing a quarterback might make an offer that McVay can't refuse, and they've got Garoppolo in the wings.
The last part of that isn't meant to be serious, is it?
Why?
Like they want to be a contender. Like
No,
they think they were a good team.
maybe they look at this year as a bridge year.
Yeah, no, they're going to go out and get, like, if you want to tell me they're going to get Sam Darnold and McVay thinks that he's kind of like in that Shanahan mode where it's me, not the, not the player.
Yeah.
I can make Darnold. I mean, he just did it with Kevin O'Connell. That's basically what I'm going to do with him. He's good enough to do that. You can sell me on. You can't sell me on Garoppolo.
Okay. Well, anyway, but I think the Rams have kind of made it clear that we need to kind of build back up.
They have.
Yeah. Well,
they were 11 yards away from the NFC Championship.
I know, but
they're the only team that gave the Eagles.
They told Cup,
Yeah, because he's done.
Okay,
Stafford's not.
But I think, no, he's not done. He's not done. But maybe they think they need to be aggressive in terms of kind of building back up. And,
I think,
and if we can get a king's ransom for this guy.
Well, they're not going to get a king's ransom. They don't want to pay him what he wants. He wants to be paid like the frontline guys at $50+ million. The numbers have changed.
Yep.
Where guys like Trevor Lawrence are getting, Tua are getting $50 million, and I think he's getting like 35.
Some other team might be willing to do that.
They might.
Yeah.
I think that they will then say, okay, we'll give you the money.
Yeah.
That's what I think they're doing. I think Belichick used to do this occasionally.
I know. Go out and see what you can get, and then
go out and see what you can get. Okay, yeah, that's reasonable. We'll give it to you. I don't think they want to give it to him, but I think they will if they have to.
Yeah.
That's my personal view of how this is going to end.
Didn't they do that with Welker?
They did it with They did it with Dante Stallworth. No, with Welker, they didn't really want him anymore.
Really?
Remember they franchised him and they were pissed the year before that he signed it?
Yeah.
Because they didn't want him to sign it. They wanted him to go then.
Yeah.
They wanted to trade him.
I thought I remember that they told him, go out and see what you can get, and they were a little pissed that he didn't come back to them. He just went to Denver.
They were pissed because
he didn't give him a chance.
They said that they offered him the same, but they didn't.
Yeah. Anyway.
I want to say it was like 2 years, $12 million or something like that, and they claimed it was the same, but it was not the same.
So I think this is relatively big news coming out of the Combine, this whole Abdul Carter thing. Now he's got an issue with his shoulder, but also his foot, and he's contemplating some type of surgery right now, and that could drop him down a little bit if he's not ready right away.
Yeah, I mean, I say this all the time. I never underestimate the stupidity of NFL people.
Yeah.
If that would drop him down where he's not going to be, he's going to have surgery and be ready for OTAs. And that's going to drop him.
Oh, is that what they're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
That's absurd. And you're right. No, you explained the whole story exactly the way it is. There's people think that he's not. I think even the odds, the draft odds have changed.
Yeah.
I think he had the best odds, and now he doesn't.
Yeah.
To go number one overall.
Well,
if someone
because when I heard the story,
wants him number one overall, and they're not going to take him because he has a stress fracture in his foot, and he might miss 2 months.
Yeah.
Heading into, his rookie season, that's absurd.
When I heard the story, they didn't mention, like, how serious there's a difference between, to me, surgery and a procedure. Like, a procedure is something
when you get of a certain age, you'll have a procedure.
No, you go in for a day, and then it's day surgery. A surgery to me is they put you under, and you have to stay a day or two or whatever. And there's a longer rehab afterwards. If this is like you said, he could be ready for OTAs or miss some couple months. Well, that's the way it's
been explained to me.
That it shouldn't.
Is that if he has the surgery, it's not expected to impact his season. It'll impact his off season.
Yeah.
But it won't impact. Like he should be ready to go for training camp and all that.
I mean, if that drops him to 4, take him.
Now Rappaport, back to Rappaport. I don't know if this is. Through his mouthpiece of
who's going to be mad at him after
his
this?
NFL security mouthpiece says this, or just from him. But he says that the word from the Carter camp is that he's not going to have surgery. He's going to opt to go through it. I'd be more worried about that. To be honest with you, I'd rather have him have this,
get it taken care of.
Have the surgery, get it taken care of, and be 100%.
Yeah, then first week of the season, you're not.
But he says that it's not painful at all to him. I don't know. Maybe it was detected, and it's something that could lead to something.
They're calling it a stress fracture.
Stress fracture, yeah, which are hard to I guess, hard to diagnose and hard to identify if you're not looking for it.
It's a hairline type of thing.
So the fact that he claims he has no symptoms, that would kind of worry me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it could impact his draft spot.
And
his
he's got a
draft
shoulder
spot.
thing that
Everybody
happened
knew. That happened during the season.
Right.
There's a lot of guys dealing. I think your boy Mason Graham's dealing with stuff.
He's
too.
only going to do bench press, they say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
What'd you think of him yesterday? He was at the podium yesterday.
I did not hear that.
I don't know. It's probably just because I'm 100 years old now. Alex, they look like babies.
They are babies.
They're just like, he
I
looks
feel
like a
like
high
that
school
too
kid.
now.
You know?
He's got the curly hair.
Curly hair, like kind of looked a little like
Yeah.
has a pudgy high school weight on him. Like,
Did he still have his eye black on?
no. But yeah, it was unimposing. Let's put it that way for a
Oh.
guy who's going to be a top 5 pick.
Unimposing. Like,
Say that to his
like
face.
didn't look,
No.
they say he's
It's little Andy Hart-ish of me. Like Andy famously, we would go to the combine, the two of us, and he would just look at a guy at the podium and go,
And say yes or no.
"Nah, I'm out on him."
That's funny.
including Patrick Mahomes, by the way.
Well,
Okay, he had like his backpack on, and like he looks like a little kid. Like that, I'm out. Like now, sometimes he ended up being right, but that was the famous one, Patrick
But-
Mahomes.
but,
he
you
was
know,
out on Mahomes.
I've heard-
based solely on the eyeball test.
I've heard Mason anywhere from 6'3" to 6'2". I think he's on the lower side. I think he's going to come in at 6'2" or so, because he doesn't look like.
But that's not a bad thing.
No, it
You
isn't.
don't want a really tall interior defensive
No,
lineman.
it's not, and he's like 325.
Yeah.
I think he's well. I like the guy. I think he.
Well, I mean, his
wouldn't-
production is
I wouldn't be
excellent.
bent out of shape if they picked him at 4.
I wouldn't either. And I
Unless
think
Abdul Carter's available.
yeah,
Yeah. Which he shouldn't be, but we'll see. We'll see what.
I think he's very much in play for the Patriots at 4. Mason Graham.
Yeah.
We had an emailer that I think astutely pointed out Mike Reese had a lot about Mason Graham in his Sunday notes. A lot of times, Mike is tapped in.
Yeah.
I think he's as connected as anybody who covers this team. So I don't just dismiss that. He spent, a significant amount of his notes on Mason Graham. I think he's very much in play at 4.
Yeah.
He's one of your envelope guys, Fred. You should be happy.
No, he doesn't qualify as a back
Too
of
good?
envelope. He's
Too
too
good?
good. He's too good. He's too obvious. It's like, well, yeah, Fred's putting Mason Graham in the back of his envelope. Okay.
he's in like a real notebook.
Yeah, I mean, he's like everyone should have him on their list. These are guys that you dig a little deeper. Dig a little
Got it.
deeper. You do some mining, and you find those jewels in the mine. Yeah, but I haven't got my books yet, so I can't really start. All right, what else is coming out of the combine that we need to talk about?
Yeah, the
Not out of
Carter
the
thing is
combine,
big.
but Godshaw.
Oh,
yeah, well, that's a good one.
Good one.
Good one, Alex. Why don't you tell people what
Seems
you're talking
like
about?
they've given Devon Godshaw permission to go seek out a trade. get
And that again is
contract
according
off the-
to Ian Rappaport, right? Didn't he was the first to
Believe he
report that?
was, yeah.
He's doing
He's
his
on
work.
it. I guess so.
Yeah.
Feeling the heat from Schultz.
Yeah.
Literally
Extra
and
security
figuratively.
details for him.
I can't believe the security thing. He's not going to live that
Maybe
down.
Albert Breer can confront him about this report. I was the first one to, but poor Ian.
They should sell tickets to a boxing match.
Sure.
And just,
Have the media for
Yeah.
charity fight each other.
yeah.
Yeah.
People would tune into that.
Oh, absolutely.
So we can spend. Can we spend 15 seconds patting ourselves on the back?
What do we do good?
I just like you and I, Mike. And we were talking a lot about since Vrabel came in, there are going to be players that you're not necessarily expecting
Yep.
that will not be part of the future.
Yeah.
And there's a veteran defensive lineman who has been given permission to seek a trade.
Yeah.
Like, this is the example of the guys that I'm talking
and
about.
Vrabel said it the other day. This roster is going to look a lot different at the end of August than it does right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's telling you right there. And we talked about it last show that no one should feel that comfortable unless you're like Drake May or, of that ilk.
Yeah, it's not just, the guys that you think, that, like Sione Taki's not going to be the only guy who was under
Right.
contract that is just going to be,
Right.
let go. Now,
Yeah.
there's a lot of speculation that Godchow, like his style as a two-gap sort of run stuffer, is not going to be conducive to what they want to do with Terrell Williams.
Yep.
You know, they want to be more penetrating, get upfield. That might be true. I think it's more than that.
Yeah, I do too.
I think it's, you know, the sort of veteran guy, probably won't be part of the next really good team.
Yeah.
Pretty outspoken.
Yeah, I was going to say that he's also someone who it seems like last couple of off seasons asking for more money,
Yeah.
restructuring contracts.
Yep.
I wonder if that was a situation here where he came to them
Mm-hmm.
and they were like, it's not going to happen here, but you're welcome to
Yeah.
go seek out a trade.
Yeah, because it wasn't it 2 seasons in a row that they gave him a bump.
I believe so.
I think they did.
Yeah, I think this was the second. Last year was the second season in a row.
I know they did last season, and then I remember, I feel like something when Bill was here too, because Bill had those comments about how he was
Yeah.
One of the best defensive linemen in the
league.
league.
Yep.
And I would also just look at the amount of times we heard from him in a pretty blunt fashion last year. Like, I wonder if Eliot Wolf is like, this guy, he didn't do that much off the field to help.
Yeah.
Off the field. I think he was fine on the field. I mean, they couldn't stop the run, but I don't necessarily blame Godchow for the fact that they struggled
Yeah.
stopping the run. I think he was reasonably good in his role, but you know,
Yeah.
it's not necessarily a difference-making player. He was often critical of either the coaching or the play within the coaching. Maybe it wasn't conducive to the
Yep.
personnel.
But then would defend coaching at the same time when the year was done. So it was like,
Yeah.
Is the media and your shows making too much of who's in charge for the Patriots?
I don't really know because I think there's a lot of speculation. You know, when Eliot talked, because Eliot Wolf spoke yesterday.
Yep.
And he said nothing has changed. You know, because he had the thing contractually that he had the final say. But saying that, he went to great lengths to explain how it's not going to be Mike's guys, it's not going to be Eliot's guys, they're going to be Patriots guys, and we're going to be together.
Well,
and
to me, with Vrabel saying, I wouldn't have come here unless I was comfortable in the input that I'll have in the roster, that's all you need to know.
and Elliot kind
He's
of jumped
okay
on
with
that
it.
too and said
Whatever-
Mike wouldn't have taken
yeah.
the job.
Yep.
Yeah, whatever they've set up, Vrabel's okay with it. And that could mean that he's ultimately in charge. Like, you can interpret that any way you want, but as long as he's okay with it, then, like, let's not worry about it yet.
So I would just, I mean, it's not necessarily a worry. It's like, who do you think has the final say?
Yeah.
And I would argue, I think it's Mike. I think
Yeah.
Vrabel has the final say.
And Wolf said, you know, nobody pushes, no team, well, he's being general, and maybe he's not 100% correct, but he said no team pushes players on a coach that they don't want.
Right, like
You know.
in Moneyball when he's like,
Yeah.
"Don't start this guy. You can't start him. I just traded him." Like it's.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like that.
Yeah. I mean,
that was my boy.
there might be some
Carlos
places
Pena.
where that
Yeah.
actually
Easter.
has happened. I know, you know, we've heard about situations where there's a disconnect between the coach and the GM, and it causes somebody to eventually leave, one or the other. But so I don't think that's 100% accurate all the time. But generally, you have to be on the same page.
Yeah, like if we take it back to the number 4 pick, if Mike Vrabel says, under no circumstances do I want Mason Graham,
Yep.
there's no way that Eliot Wolf is
Yeah.
saying, no, Mason Graham's the
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
If it's the other way around, I could see it.
Right. I could too.
If Mike Vrabel says, I want Mason Graham, and Eliot Wolf says, no,
Yeah.
he's not the right guy, I could still see them taking Mason Graham.
Yep. Because probably Vrabel's going to have Terrell Williams on his side. They've spoken about it.
And you're missing a guy in the personnel department.
Matt Groh? No, I'm only kidding. I know.
Ryan Cowden.
Ryan Cowden.
Like, I think,
yeah.
you know, you
Yeah.
that's your tiebreaker now. It's
Yeah.
2-on-1.
Yep.
Right? I mean, there's a reason that
Yeah.
Mike wanted to bring that guy in. So,
Yeah.
in speaking of the personnel department, they did lose a member.
Yeah, Patrick Stewart.
Brett Stewart.
Yeah. So he's going to the college.
Nebraska, the college.
Yes.
College.
He's going to the college.
The Nebraska.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt Rule was in Carolina when Patrick Stewart was there. So there's a connection there. I think they went back to Temple, even, those two. So there's a relationship between Stewart and Rule, and now he's gone with
Okay.
the Cornhuskers.
Yeah. All right.
Trying to think anything.
Anything else?
Any other little details? We got a lot of like small little stories.
There's things happening.
Setting the table.
Yeah,
Or as
the
Kevin
off-season's
Collins would
heating
say,
up.
Set the table.
Yeah, off-season heating up. Workouts begin today at the Combine. So, who is it? Defensive lineman today?
I believe.
I think you're
I
right.
believe you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah, we won't find out about Will Campbell's arms until the weekend.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday morning. That's going to be like Geraldo Rivera
Set
opening
your
up
alarm.
Jimmy
Set your
Hoffa's.
alarm.
or
If you had,
Al Capone's.
I'm not
vault.
telling you, I'm not Dante. Okay, so I'm not telling you that he can or can't play depending on the size of his arms. I'm leaving that to the professionals.
Yeah, the ball knowers.
Right. If
Yeah.
you had to say, do you think his arms are the length that they like them to be?
Yes.
See, I say no.
I don't think it would be a conversation like this
Thank
if
you.
it was.
If,
Why would
if
we
his
even
arms
be
were long
talking
enough, we
about
wouldn't
it?
be waiting with bated
Well, I
breath
think they're
to
right
find
there.
out.
I think they're probably right at 33.
Yeah.
He should
My
just
guess
like
is they're
hang
not.
from a pull-up bar for
Yeah,
as
somebody- yeah,
long as he
yeah.
can.
Bobby Brady.
Right
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
See, Alex doesn't know Bobby
Yep.
Brady.
Like
Brady
the
Bunch?
Brady Bunch?
Yeah.
I used
But
to
like
watch
it,
that.
like I know your show has gone at lengths to talk about the length, but if he comes in at 32 and 7/8, I don't care. What does he look like on tape?
Well,
I mean,
I don't care either, Fred, but that's why I preface it with, like, I'm not Dante.
yeah,
Dante and those people, they do care.
yeah. But I don't think an
'Cause-
eighth of an inch.
Well, I'm just telling you,
Yeah.
they think that that's a big difference.
Yeah, I don't know. An eighth of an inch.
I mean, do you think there's a big difference between a guy who runs a 4.5 and a 4.6?
Nope.
Yes, there is.
Nope.
There is.
Speed's a little different though, because
No,
like
but it's
maybe
just
you have
an
long
element.
arms but terrible grip
No, I
strength,
know they
you know?
think
Like,
it is. I
there's-
just don't.
Like, but I'm not the guy who's coaching
know.
them. Like, it's not like I don't understand it.
Yeah.
As you aptly put it, I'm not a ball knower.
Yeah,
You know, but they have their reasons.
but
the intangibles.
I mean, I think it's part of the puzzle that you're putting together. But if you're telling me that Jerry Rice shouldn't have been where he was because he wasn't that fast, then you're nuts. I mean, there's guys that just have football speed, and there's guys who have flatline speed, and I'd rather take the football speed and the football IQ and all that other stuff than just the burn. I mean, for years the Raiders were famous for always taking the fastest guy. How did that work out for them?
They won a lot.
No, not when
That
they
was
were
Cliff
doing
Branch.
that. No, not when they were doing
Yes,
that.
that was Cliff Branch.
No, I'm talking about Jet and all those other guys after that.
well, how did it work out for us when we took Taekwon?
Right.
You know?
Right.
But
Shouldn't
you're-
you know? Absolutely. That's a good example, Alex.
but you're making different observations.
I'm saying a tenth of a you
Like-
know,
Well, it's apples to oranges with the position groups too.
Right,
But it's
I think there's more to it than the 40-yard dash.
No, but yes, is he good? Like
Right.
when the Raiders took a guy who wasn't very good. Like Darius Haywood-Bay would be the example.
Right, and they
He's not a good
They
player.
fell in love with his speed.
But what if there's a guy who is good?
Okay.
And he has the speed.
Great.
Over a guy who is good and doesn't have
Of
the
course,
speed.
they take the guy who has the
Right,
speed.
so don't say it doesn't matter.
I didn't say.
That's all I'm saying. You're
I'm saying
like creating a
to
different
me,
whole
it
argument.
doesn't matter as much as maybe some other. It matters to other people.
Yeah,
To
'cause
me, is how
I'm-
good is he?
But I'm not a coach.
Can he get open and catch?
Right. But can he not do that well enough at the NFL level because of the speed?
Right.
Because of the arm length. Can he
Yeah.
not protect as well?
But you don't get open in a 40-yard dash anyway. I want that shuttle. I want the shuttle drill. I want the cone drill.
God almighty.
Yeah.
Please.
it's just hard to believe that there's a bunch of scouts and personnel guys sitting around a table like really sweating for this specific measurement if it's off by that much. I don't know.
Well, they have to come up with the things that separate, because so many of these guys are so close. They're looking for those little things that, okay, this gives him the edge over the other guy. But to me,
It seems like he already
get
has
good,
the edge to me.
get
He's
good
the biggest
scouts that
name at his
understand talent
position.
when they see it, and that can figure out the projection from the college game to the NFL game.
I agree. And if Will Campbell ends up getting taken in the top 5, then that would tell me that the scouts were comfortable with his play.
Yeah.
If
of
he
course.
doesn't, that would tell me that they think he's probably going to be a guard
Yeah.
and he's going to drop a little bit.
Yep. So
And I don't know the answers to those questions.
I don't either. But it's going to be an interesting draft. I think that the top 5 is really nobody knows at this point.
I mean, I think that it's Carter and Hunter in the top 5, and I don't think there are really anything else that's guaranteed.
Nope.
But as you keep saying, and I agree with you 1,000%, there are going to be good players taken.
Yeah.
You just have to figure out which ones are better than the others.
All right, 855-PATS-500
stacked phone lines
is the TPX hotline until March 1st. Podcast at patriots.com is the email. Let's just open it up because a little later we're going to have Evan and Deuce calling in from the Combine, and all these questions they're going to answer. They're going to have all the answers to all our questions when they call in. So let's start on the phone line. We'll go to Maryland. Ryan's there. What's up, Ryan? Ryan. Okay, you can't hold on for 20 minutes? All right.
Wow.
We'll go to Dylan in California. Dylan, what's up? Dylan. Is it me? Okay, Dylan's not there.
Sounds like he's there.
Dylan, you there? Okay, call back. We'll go to Montana. Chris, were you there when the infamous meeting happened? What's up,
Boots on
Chris?
the ground.
And Chris is...
Hi,
oh, there he is.
I was not there, but I bet I can guess where it took place and that it wasn't an innocent meeting.
And why do you say that?
It's called the Yellowstone Club, where all the rich guys have houses, including Brady, and there's a private ski resort there. So I'm sure that's where Brady hosted Stafford, but Stafford doesn't just accidentally end up there. You can't possibly get in without one of the members getting you onto the grounds, through all the security gates, all of that stuff.
Okay. Interesting.
This is my favorite part of what we do.
Me too.
Yeah.
Because we've now taken it, like, I can guarantee you, we have no idea where the meeting was.
Yeah.
But we now have it taking place at this private club that you can't get in without knowing a member.
So do you know...
And the fact that Matthew Stafford, in no way could he possibly be a member.
Well, this is like we're talking a different tax
Wait,
bracket than Stafford is in. If it's... I have the right idea.
Oh,
Chris
I don't think
will have
it's...
to correct me
I don't
if
think
I'm
it's a
wrong.
different...
He's
I don't
in the
think,
tax bracket.
I don't think there are
As
many
Brady's?
tax brackets. Matthew Stafford has been... really well
he's probably
paid.
made about $400 million in his career.
Now, I don't know about Brady
With
because of the
endorsements and
off-field
everything?
Brady, but Stafford does all right.
Chris, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, Alex is kind of right. This is like
This
a
is
whole
billionaire talking,
yeah,
not millions.
So you have to and this is a little outdated now, but it's only gotten more exclusive. But initially to get a place up there, you had to spend, you had to be able to spend at least $15 or $20 million on just the plot of land to buy from the club. But even if you came up with the liquid assets to do that, it had to be liquid. It couldn't be investments. You had to apply, and the club can just say no because they don't meet your standard or whatever.
Yeah, no, that can happen, absolutely.
Yeah, but
I've heard a lot of stories like that.
But I don't think it's beyond reason to think that Stafford wasn't invited by somebody there other than Brady. Is that,
No, he could be for sure.
Yeah.
I think Arthur.
Now we're
has
really
up
heading
there
down
too.
Yeah.
coincidences.
No. Okay. So you are familiar with this place, Chris? Are you in that tax bracket?
I am most certainly not in that tax bracket. I'm an EMT, so I don't make any money.
You're in. All right.
But I have skied there once.
Okay. All right.
I skied. We had my mom was a pastor, and one of her members got us in there. He was one of the original founders of Qualcomm.
Yeah, this is the money I'm
from
talking
San Diego.
about.
Yeah.
Anonymous tech billionaire inventors that you've never heard of.
Yep.
There's a
But
whole world
the
that
only
we don't
thing-
even know
There
about.
sure is. I'm trying to get into it.
Go ahead, Chris.
I need to be a host at this club or something, or bartender.
I was gonna say, so one of the lifties when I went, I noticed that her last name was Boeheim, and she was from Syracuse, New York. So I asked her, I was like, you probably get asked this all the time, but you're not related to Jim Boeheim, are you? And she goes, oh yeah, that's my dad. She goes, yeah, nobody knows that up here, but she was taking, she had just finished college and was taking a couple months to just pal around and go skiing every day. So she ended up working as a lift operator at this place.
Okay.
It's nuts, and that's where I think Brady and Aaron Rodgers did a golf tournament up there, a charity thing a couple years ago. That's where Brady used to get all his his wide receivers together to throw in the summers. It's crazy.
Wow. Okay, well, thanks for the insight. Appreciate
Yeah,
that, Chris.
that's great stuff,
call.
Chris. Thanks.
Chris, I'm gonna need a Montana itinerary.
What do you call it? Yellow Jacket?
Yellowstone Club.
Yellowstone Club?
Yeah, and it's very flawed, but I just did a quick Google, and Tom Brady's net worth, it says, is $300 million, and Stafford's is $150 million. So we're not necessarily talking about
Right.
Those net worth things are never accurate.
No. I'm
though.
just it's apples to apples.
Yeah.
Like Matthew Stafford.
But Tom Brady has the stature.
Correct. That
you
was the
know?
second part of what
It's good
Tom
for them
Brady's
to
in
have Tom
different
Brady as a
rooms
member.
than
It was yes.
Stafford
and
is.
that I agree with, and that was the second part of what Chris said that I really agreed with. You hear those stories with golf clubs all the time.
Well, look at
like
the
I don't care
Brookline
about your
Country
money.
Club wouldn't let Tom and Giselle in for
Right.
a really long time.
Couldn't
Right.
get them in
Right.
because those are really exclusive clubs, and
Mm-hmm.
they can pick from anybody
Yeah.
that has the same kind of money you do.
Right. Ugh.
Must be nice.
Dylan is calling back from California. What's up, Dylan?
Okay, so a lot of the trade talk has been about trading back in the draft, but I know we've talked about we're not going to get as much trade value in this trade. So what about instead of trading back, we stick at 4 and we try to trade back up into the top 10 and get like Tyler Warren or even get Campbell if he's still there with the 8th or 9th pick. And having 2 top-round first picks. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but the Texans did it a couple of years ago with CJ and Will Anderson. So,
Right,
kind of get your guys' thoughts on that.
Well, so what are we trading to get into the top 10?
So, I looked kind of into it. I'm thinking, next year's first, and I don't think we necessarily have to give up a second this year. We can give up a third round this year. So a first and a third a first next year and a third this year is kind of what I'm thinking.
I would not be interested in doing that in this draft. I wouldn't want to forfeit a first-round pick next year to get another top 10 pick in a draft that is widely regarded as being poor.
Yeah. Unless there's a guy they love for some reason. But, yeah, I think you have to give up too much. If you had 2 picks in the first round and you were trading like the 20th to get back into the 10, I think you probably wouldn't have to give up next year's. Like you could do that and give him a third, but having to give up next year's first, you're going to need that next year. But good thought, Dylan. Thank you. Let's go to L.A. Christian's in L.A. What's up, Christian?
Hey, you guys. How are you?
Good.
And yes, I am in that tax bracket. Well, not me exactly, but the person I deal with is in that tax bracket. Hence, it's being in the Palisades for the big disaster event.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's to back to football. Is there anyone that you guys, free agent wise, would say we would give away the first round pick this year to just get this player without a pick along with him?
So is there anyone free agent worth giving up our first round pick for?
Yeah, let's say Myles Garrett.
Yeah, Myles Garrett would be the only guy.
Yeah.
I would. I mean, if you wanted Myles Garrett, and he's good enough to give up the 4th overall pick for. He's still young enough, and he's obviously productive enough.
Is there anyone that you'd be willing to give up a first round pick in a trade?
And that's you'd have to trade for Myles Garrett. Like I assume, Christian, you're talking about guys that are available, right? Like obviously, I would give that up for Patrick Mahomes too, but that's not available.
Well, I think Drake May's better, Paul.
I'm sure you do.
Is DK Metcalf in that range, you guys?
No.
Would you give up?
No, I'd give up. I would trade a 2nd round pick for DK Metcalf, though. I'd be interested in that. Maybe a 3rd.
Wow, a 3rd?
2nd or 3rd. I wouldn't give up a 1st round pick for DK Metcalf.
Well, let's just say I know this isn't happening because they're going to make him the richest guy other than the quarterback. But Jamar Chase, would you give up this year's first round pick?
Yeah. That's why I said guys that are realistically available.
Right. He's not realistically available.
No, Myles Garrett is, though. He wants out.
Right.
So I think, Christian, I agree. I would. There's not a lot of guys that I would want to trade the 4th overall pick for.
Yeah.
That are available.
Right.
So, who would you guys wrestle away from a team? Like, right now we're on the cusp of T. Higgins being someone that we're trying to, I guess, negotiate. I would assume that we're trying to negotiate with Cincinnati behind closed doors to see if we can position ourselves for him. Is there anyone else in that position that you guys would would wrestle away from a team?
Well,
Like
according to
a
Chad
second
Graff,
like
we're not in the T. Higgins
Yeah.
sweepstakes.
And, you know, I mean, I know that it does happen, but I hope they're not publicly doing that because you can get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
You can't talk to
No.
like
Not right now.
some other owner
No.
or something.
Unless they gave him permission to go seek a trade.
Correct.
No, you cannot.
So
Not-
if
not-
Robert Kraft sat down with the owner of Cincinnati Bengals, they can't talk about players.
Oh, you can talk owner to owner. You could talk.
No, you can't talk
Right.
about
But
players.
you can't talk to his agent. And you can't talk to the player about the player.
He can't talk to Mike Brown about T. Higgins.
Well, if
He's,
Mike Brown.
he's on the other team. He's on another team.
I know.
Now, I'm not a child. I understand that happens.
Right.
But technically, that's tampering
Yeah.
until the legal tampering period in early March.
Yeah, because now you're getting a head start on the
Right.
other teams.
Right. Now, that's
Thanks, Christian.
Christian's right. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what's happening now.
Yeah.
You know, like these guys are, you know, the coaches, the agents, they're talking to the other teams. This is how you find, you know, when the legal tampering period happened, I think it's March 8th to 10th or something like that.
Yeah.
When that happens, there's a reason why as soon as that period opens,
Everything happens.
you get all the
instantly.
tweets like so-and-so has agreed in the structure of a 4-year, $120 million deal because in Indy,
Right.
they found out what it's going to take
Yep.
to get Fred Kirsch to sign on the dotted line.
Yeah.
And so I'm not, like, again, I'm not
Paul,
a
what do I
child.
need to do to get you in this car today?
Oh,
Yeah.
give it to me for free.
Yeah.
That's about it.
All right. Good
I'll kick
stuff.
the tires a little bit.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right, we got a lot of emails coming in. Wow.
Why don't you read some?
Well, I don't know.
I didn't get you to laugh. You always laugh when I say that.
I was expecting it today.
Let's see. Alex in Raleigh. He says, no surprise Paul didn't find Elaine attractive in Seinfeld. He has a type, and that type is J-Lo. That's true.
Yeah, that's kind
That's
of factual.
true. And Elaine is not J-Lo.
And just so you know, like I didn't like find her unattractive.
Yeah.
I told you
Just
it
looked like
was
your sister.
She kind
She's
of looked
cute.
like my sister.
Yeah,
Like I
right.
couldn't really
Couldn't go
look
there.
at it that way. I guess it's a compliment to my sister.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
thought my sister was attractive, but
Okay.
you know, like that's creepy.
Yeah. Was she older or younger than you?
Younger.
Younger?
Yeah.
How much?
5 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. Did you have to keep guys away from her? Were you like the bigger brother? And
My brother did a better job of that than I
Yeah.
did, but yes, I can't imagine it was a whole lot of fun coming to the Perillo house.
Was
Yeah.
it 2 older brothers and then youngest sister?
Yeah.
That's a dynamic.
So I do have a story if you want it.
Oh,
Pretty sure the
okay.
statute of limitations might be up.
Oh, God.
She had a boyfriend in high school, and he was kind of a jerk. He didn't do anything wrong per se, like not like he was abusive or anything.
Yeah.
I don't want to make it sound like that, but he kind of was bothering her a little bit, and then he had another girlfriend. After they broke up.
Okay.
And the girlfriend was harassing my sister, serious, like
Oh.
big time. She kept like driving by the house, and so my brother went outside, and she had the guts to stop. Do you know where Jen Perillo lives? And my brother punched the window of the car, shattered it.
Oh, my God.
Never saw her again.
Wow.
He just went boom. Who wants to know? Boom. It was like Fred Kirsch.
Oh, wow.
That's hilarious.
So
And he
my
punched in the back window of a car.
So my aunt told me a story about my father when he was like a teenager. He was protective of his sister, who was younger, and she said there was one time where she was going to date this guy for the first time, and he was going to come over and pick her up, and so my father and his friend brought their weights to the front room. So as soon as this guy came in the door, it's these two guys like lifting weights, and so
Pump and iron in the formal dining
Right.
room.
Right.
I'm gonna be at the gun
right
club.
by the front door. So this guy had to that's the first thing he saw when the door opened.
That's
Just
funny.
doing some curls in the foyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother was definitely worse with that than I was, but I can't imagine it was a lot of fun.
Well, that
for
one's
anybody.
funny because it just shows me that in the entire history before social media, new girlfriends were always stalking the ex-girlfriends.
Oh,
And nothing has changed.
oh yeah, yeah. And like at the time, my sister couldn't have cared less about the guy anymore. It's not like she was trying to get him back.
No, that's how it is.
Like-
But your sister was probably the one that got away, and the new girlfriend understood that. I can relate.
Fast forward about 25 years, and I've actually been in that kid's company because he lived not too far away from where I am, and his kid was think I coached his kid in
Yeah.
elementary basketball.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Interesting.
Probably kept him on the bench.
Alex and
KP
Raleigh goes on.
couldn't play.
On to the Patriots. Depending on measurables, I think Will Campbell could be a great addition for the team to protect Drake. Are you all concerned that there are too many holes to plug this year to rebound? Do we have only 13 holes to plug like the Commanders did, or do we have way more?
What do you mean? What do you mean? Is the Commanders the example of rebounding?
Yeah, I would say.
No, but I'm saying is that you're only I think you could win 6 or 7 games, and I think that would be a perfectly suitable rebound.
Right.
I just want to improve.
Yeah.
I want to get pieces in place that, you know what I'm saying,
So we
Alex?
just want something to be excited about.
Well, but just okay,
We all
they
just want
got
hope.
those 3 players that are in their mid-20s that I think will be good players for them for the
Right.
next 3 years.
The way we feel about Gonzo
They didn't get
and
any
Drake.
of those last year, other than Drake May.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you feel really good about that they acquired last year,
Right.
other than Drake May?
Yeah.
Whether it be draft picks.
Hooper.
But he's now a free
Not a-
agent.
yeah.
That's
This
true.
is my point.
Right,
They
yeah.
didn't sign a 25-year-old guy who really contributed. If Antonio Gibson or Hooper was a 25-year-old guy on that we signed to a 5-year contract,
right.
I'd say, okay, those are
So they built a little.
those are hits.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. That's all I'm looking for improvement. And I think they could win. The schedule right now is really, really light. And if they button things up,
Don't make that mistake, Paul, judging a schedule before it's played.
I know, and you taught me well,
Yep.
and I try not to do that.
Yep.
Everybody thought last year's schedule was going to be hard.
Right.
It wasn't.
Right.
But I do feel like the pieces are in place if they can make some good moves.
Yeah.
And improve a couple of things and stop, as Mike said so many times, learn how to take advantage of bad football.
Yep.
Not be one of those teams that does the bad football
Right.
that allows the other team to win. And they could win 6 or 7 games.
Floyd in Redford, Michigan. Please let Alex know she's been dressing sharp. I failed to mention it on the show, but I did compliment Alex when she came in. The pants, the shoes,
My coat last week.
the sweater, the whole
Definitely
ensemble.
stepped it up.
Even the hair clip in the back.
Banana Republic.
Just
Abercrombie and Fitch.
The
Yeah.
hair clip in the back is
Zara,
the hair
please
clip. I
sponsor me.
think
If you're
goes with the
listening.
whole.
extra touch. The hair
Yeah.
clip in the back. Look
Yeah.
at- she's all embarrassed. She's like,
No, I think that you got to put together today, girl.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
It means more coming from you.
It should. I don't throw around these compliments lightly.
Trust me, I hear how you talk to Paul about his ensembles, so I don't
Oh, I
take
got
it
on.
lightly.
I got on Chris Cassidy yesterday for wearing his cap backwards.
oh, that's
Oh.
hilarious.
I told him
Speaking of
grow
which,
up.
to tease a little for the
blew it.
newsletter, I did a poll of some female employees here about the backwards hat thing, so if
Okay,
anyone's interested.
we'll get that.
So
Newsletter.
that's good. You know what my plan was, and as usual, I come up with these random thoughts when I'm driving.
Yeah, of course.
To and from. I was gonna come onto the show today and put my hat on backwards,
Why didn't you?
and of course I forgot.
Should have, could have, would have.
Bill.
bag that you're wearing.
Yeah, that was Andy.
That was Andy.
Bill in Albuquerque writes in, guys, my good friend, also a Patriots fan, was one of the first people to get a place at Yellowstone, and I was fortunate enough to celebrate my birthday there last year. The club is
That's
nuts.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to bump into a celebrity because there are very few people in the mountains there that are there are trail runs where you see no one. So
That's
okay.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
it's a great call.
know.
That Chris in Montana. That was a great call.
Former intern Rocky writes in.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, Rocky, who went from here to Playboy, an editor at Playboy. So he says, they say that a tie is like kissing your sister, though perhaps in this
God.
draft,
Rocky, be nice.
taking tie would be like kissing Paul's sister, Tyler Warren. Former intern Rocky says, P.S. Fun fact, the Patriots are one of 9 NFL teams to not tie since the advent of overtime in 1974. Is that true? We haven't had a tie since
We haven't
74?
had a tie since overtime. I did know that. I didn't know how many teams there were. But, Rocky, it's great to hear from you. I thought you were going to make a really inappropriate remark about my sister. But
Yeah. Yeah.
And me.
Let's see.
My brother used to say that all the time. It's like, ties like kissing your sister. Depends what your sister looks like.
Oh my God. Depends what state you live in.
Yeah. I think that probably has. I'm going to be nice. Different connotations in different areas of the country.
Back to
I thought we had a lot of emails.
We do.
You're already like
He
exhausted.
doesn't
them.
like them.
No, there's so many. I can't. I need some help with the emails.
You need food.
I need some. I do.
You're like famished.
But I need somebody to go through the email and say, this is a good one. This is a good one.
In real time.
Yeah. We'll work on that. Let's see. CJ's and KC. What's up, CJ?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey.
I wanted to ask you, since you brought up this year's draft, being generally a bad overall draft, would you guys be interested in potentially trading out of the 4th overall pick this year with, a team that would be looking to move up, like the Saints or something like that, to build for next year's draft? Because I do think there's going to be some top-end talent in next year's draft. And full disclosure, I'm an Ohio State fan, and I would love for Caleb Downs or Jeremiah Smith or both of them to be in a Patriots uniform next year. So just wanted to get your thoughts about that.
So what you're saying, the first thing, though, is I think Paul and I agree that the top half of this draft is not great. But I think that the draft overall isn't that bad. There's good players to be found in this draft. But to what you're saying, I mean, I wouldn't rule it out.
I wouldn't rule that out either. I like the thought. It's not supposed to be a very good draft.
Yeah, if I can build,
Jeremiah Smith, by the way, will have to spend 2 more years at Ohio State.
Thanks,
I believe.
CJ. Yeah,
I'm
a lot of background.
Not
noise.
positive on that. Maybe he redshirted his first year.
But
so he might know. I mean, he's
but
an
overall,
Ohio State
if I can pick up an extra first-round pick next year and maybe some other picks later in the draft this year, I'd be willing to look at that.
Well, I think that what he's proposing is to get a first-round pick next year, not necessarily like a pick swap. So you lose that 4th pick, but you get extra picks in the future.
You would lose the 4th pick.
I think they need players.
Yeah,
I
still
think
need those really good middle-of-the-pack guys.
Yeah.
Like at some point you need, there's a lot of talk about like all the different, like DK Metcalf. Some people, I listen to one of my shows in the morning, Fred Toucher, is very against those kinds of guys because, the cliche of those, you're not ready for those guys yet. Well, at some point you just have to find a way to get good players that are going to help you get better.
Right.
And whether they're here the next time you're competing for a title or not, you need guys to improve your overall talent level.
Yeah.
And I think at some point you need to use some of these draft picks and you need to hit on some
So
of
if
them.
you were offered a Ferrari or a Porsche or something, what high-end car for no money, would you say, no, I can't take it yet because I don't have a garage? Or would you just take the car and worry about the garage later?
Just take it.
Yeah.
Now, would you take a 15-year-old Ferrari?
Yeah.
I would take an old Porsche.
Yeah, but that would be the more accurate thing.
Yeah.
Would you take an old one that might be on its last legs if you weren't prepared to maintain it?
No.
Well, that's kind of what the argument is on like Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
Or, guys like that.
Right.
Now, I think you can make an argument for or against a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
But that's more along the lines of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Brand new, I would not turn down a brand new car because I don't have a garage for it.
Yep.
Well,
Put a cover on
you're
it.
in a different situation. You need a car.
It's true.
Chris is in New Hampshire. What's up, Chris?
I'm almost there.
Hello, man and lady.
Hey.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, yeah. I got 2 sneaky needs for the Patriots. First one is I think a free safety would really help. It would allow Duggar and Peppers
It's a huge
to
need.
do more what they do best.
Yeah, it's a huge need.
I've heard someone's name, free agency, that's been talked about. And the other sneaky need is a pre- and post-game show host.
Oh.
I'll take it off the air. Thanks, guys.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, Javon Holland, I think, is the safety you're probably thinking about in free agency. But I think that is a significant need.
Yeah.
They have a lot of the same kinds of guys, and I'm not even sure how many of those guys will be back.
Yeah.
Back there. They have physical box run support safeties. They don't have a lot of cover safeties.
I know he's not a safety, he's a linebacker, but any interest in Harold Landry?
Yeah, I would take Harold Landry
would too.
as an edge rusher. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I would too. Eldred's in North Carolina.
Another guy, by the way, that's been given permission to seek a trade.
Right.
Which is why you brought him up.
Right. What's up, Eldred?
What up, Fred, Alex, Paul. How y'all doing?
All
What's
right.
up, Big E?
How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Hey, question. Listen to Evan and Bart the other day on a restricted free agent? Not restricted, but coming up soon. Would you give a 3 for Garrett Wilson from the Jets?
A third-round pick for Garrett Wilson?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Are you kidding me? Of course I would.
I would too. They was arguing this. They might maybe a second or a third, but like I said, if I get him for a third, I would.
I might even give him a second.
I would give him a second. The Jets are not going to do any of this.
Right,
But
right.
yes, I would do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, he was a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
And he's hit.
Yeah, but he was hurt.
And he has production on terrible teams.
Hey, he's hit
Yeah.
as a top 5 pick. They're not going to give him away for a third-round pick.
Right. Yeah.
According to them, they might because he was hurt, came back, and then him and Rock quarterback then didn't mesh that well, and
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
but they was
That's
thinking.
yeah. I mean, I respectfully disagree with them.
Yeah. I mean, Eldred, I'd give a second for him in a heartbeat, but the Jets aren't going to do that.
4, go ahead and get Campbell and put him outside as a tackle. You know, I wouldn't go 4.
And by the way, Garrett Wilson did not miss a game last year or the year before. So I don't know where they're getting he was hurt and he came back. I don't know what, like. Garrett Wilson has played in 17 games all 3 seasons. He hasn't missed a game because of injury yet.
Not yet. I don't know where they got that from, Dan. But
It's just
you know,
the typical Patriot thing. Like all the other guys that are good around the league, they all want to give their players to the Patriots
I mean,
for nothing.
he might have come out of a game because he was banged up, but he's played in every game.
And, and I know it was a horrible situation, but he still caught 101 passes last year.
That's what I'm saying. He's had
for
production
1,100 yards and 7
year
touchdowns.
on
Career
a
highs.
terrible team with bad quarterbacking.
Career highs in all 3 of those categories. 101 for 1104 and 7 touchdowns.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Well,
one
you're right,
one
but
more
they
yard than he
they
had his
probably
rookie
wouldn't
year.
trade him to us, no way.
No, I would take him.
They probably wouldn't trade him to us, no way.
Yeah.
I don't see them.
Thanks, Eldred.
I don't see them wanting to trade him to the Patriots anyway. Now, they might get to the point where they just feel like if he's demanding to be out and they want to just say, well, we want to get something for him, they might do something like that. But I just can't see them wanting to give him to the Patriots unless the Patriots really overpaid for him.
Yep. Let's see. Tim writes in. I've noticed that whenever someone calls into the show and asks how everyone's doing, Paul emits a barely audible, dejected meh.
Yeah, that's accurate.
The meh is never addressed and is often drowned out by other voices, but I always hear it. He's been responding this way to this question for years. What's got Paul so down? Is it the impending college tuition? Does he miss Andy? Does he think, unlike Mike, miss being 12-4 and in the AFC Championship game every year? They say money doesn't buy happiness, Fred. Throw the guy a raise to boost his spirits, would you?
Who is this?
Tim.
It's my favorite guy
and
ever.
Paul, buddy, if you ever need to talk, I'm here.
Are you a therapist by any chance?
Is this your burner, Paul?
Because I would get one if I could afford one.
Insurance. We have insurance.
I know. There's payments involved in that I don't have.
You don't need therapy. You'll just dwell on your problems.
I beg to differ. I need therapy.
P.S. Since I'm taking shots at Mike, I want to address a befuddling take that Mike had during the season, which was that he would have preferred not to be stuck with the first overall pick in this year's draft. Mike, do you still feel the same way now that the Patriots will likely miss out on your beloved Abdul Carter?
That was an odd take by Mike. I kind of remember. I think it was a pregame show.
Well,
that
he's sick of 12-4 seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had odd takes. Yep.
Yeah, well,
We'll have to ask him.
I don't think it was the disaster that it's made out to be that they lost that pick in their last game of the year, but I would certainly rather have the opportunity to take Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter right now without having to worry about what's happening ahead of them, right? Would you agree with that, Fred?
What's that, Paul?
You're not paying attention
Well,
to
I was
me?
going
when
through the
hosts aren't
emails.
listening?
This is why I need help. Yeah. What did you say?
I would rather be in a position where I could get Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter without worrying about whoever.
True.
Whatever.
You'd like to
everybody else is
control
doing.
your fate.
I don't think it's a huge deal. I don't think it's like a set the organization back because they won that game kind of a deal.
Right.
The way people have sort of described
There's
it.
some people that are really, really
And they're
bent
still
out of
upset
shape.
about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yep. There might be people inside this building.
My buddy Jim Murray
Yeah.
talks about it all the time
Yeah.
on my show.
Now, there's
That's
someone who
really my
needs to
show.
talk to somebody.
Murray's got
Oh,
issues.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's funny.
Well, probably everybody on that show does.
That'd probably be good radio, just bring in a therapist for each of them.
Let's see. Joshua just email of praise. I like those. He's from Amarillo, Texas. Now that we're halfway through the decade, I'd love to know who you think should be on the Patriots all-decade team of the 2020s. I also want to express my gratitude to everyone's hard work. I stumbled upon this podcast while researching for Brady's Hall of Fame induction last year, and I'm so thankful for the podcast and all the work you do. So who should be on the Patriots all-decade team of the 2020s?
It's a fantastic question.
We're at 2025 at this
One
point.
I have no idea.
It's not a very lofty list. No.
So 2020 would be the first year?
Yeah.
To now. So you're talking about 5 years.
So the year after Brady left, right?
Oh, man. Like, who
All the holdovers. Like
do we have 1 year with
40?
Brady on it?
No, that would be 19.
He left
19
March
was his last year?
2020.
Okay.
So
you had Edelman, McCourty, and Slater still around.
I mean, I guess you put Devin on it. Not Edelman. He did nothing in 2020.
Judon.
Judon would probably be on it.
Okay. I mean, Duggar.
Godshaw would probably be on it. Duggar.
I mean, you have to fill the team. So
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, you have
right.
to pick 22 guys.
Right.
Jacoby Myers.
Who's
Jacoby Myers would be a
yep.
receiver.
Yeah.
That's a good call, Alex. Probably Ramondre.
Yeah. But
Hunter.
Hunter
Henry.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's slim pickings.
Yep.
Michael Owenu.
Yep.
David Andrews.
Yep. But it's, you put Drake May on there.
I would.
Yeah.
I would. Drake May's 10 games are better than anything. So that's interesting. Someone asked me a question on Twitter. Who had the better rookie year? Mac or Drake May?
Have to be fair, Mac did.
Yeah, I went with Drake May.
I know a lot of people
Yeah.
that, despite Mac's success, were just never in on him.
Well,
that would be me.
But
well, you weren't
But
alone.
again,
I
I
know
need
a lot
therapy.
of people and people I trust with their opinions.
I think when you say success, you have to put it in quotes.
Right.
Because I think it was
on paper.
It was fabricated. They coddled him the first half. Second half, he declined because he needed to do more.
Well, I think it's also how you define success. And a lot of people, like the Felgers of the world, scoreboard. I'm a slave to the scoreboard. He won 10 games. Okay. I don't think that he won 10 games.
Right. He didn't lose 10 games.
He was the quarterback of a team that won 10 games.
Yeah.
I don't think he won really
Right.
any of them.
Right.
Now, you could make the argument like, well, for all that Drake May did, he won one game.
Right.
As a starter and finisher. He won one game. I would just look at it and say, watching the quarterback play, Drake May was better.
He was better, but he didn't have as much success.
He had not nearly as much to work with. He was asked to do way more, to your point.
Yep.
He wasn't coddled.
Right.
He was asked to do everything for a team that had virtually nothing.
Yep.
Drake
Now-
just had so many comebacks too, where even if we didn't ultimately win, he would lead a drive at the end of the game when we were down. And if we were down with Mac,
Only if you were down multiple scores. Not if you were within one score.
Yeah, I'm not sure about
regardless,
that.
there was times where I was like, this game, we have a chance. And I've never felt like that down with Mac.
Yeah. No, I
mean, and I don't really know what precipitated it. Someone on Twitter just reached out, I think it was yesterday, and just said, what are your thoughts on that?
It's a good question.
It was a really good question.
No,
I
listen,
thought about it for a
think
couple
Mac
minutes.
had a better rookie season. I do.
No, I mean, I think I'm not arguing with you on
Yeah.
it. It's not something I would die on that hill.
Yeah.
I just feel like if you're just strictly judging the quarterback play,
Yeah.
how this guy played and how this guy played, I
then
think Drake May had a better year.
That I agree with.
Now, the numbers won't back that up. He
Right.
threw more picks. They didn't win any games.
Yep. Will writes in about Evan and the criticism in an email from Tuesday. Yeah, he's a bit stiff and pretty set in his opinions, not exactly fitting for his age, which is kind of funny since he dresses and styles himself as an older guy. And yeah, he's not the most open-minded when it comes to the world. And let's be real, his food takes are a disaster. Boneless wings. And that recent post about the best chicken parmesan, as an Italian, all I could say was, Mamma mia, no. I didn't see that post.
I didn't see it.
But
I did.
he's a huge asset to PU. He's the perfect counterbalance to Paul with their playful back and forths, and his more detailed approach to football brings a really interesting perspective to the show, especially for Europeans who don't grow up with football. There's a lot to learn from him. And it's Catch-22 with Alex, a must-listen for every Patriots fan, just like PU. So there's a defensive of...
I like the defensive of Evan was
The chicken
a
parm.
5-minute preamble about all the things he does wrong.
These are all his quirks, but no, the chicken parm thing was he took Jess out for her birthday the day before Valentine's Day and gave a shout out to the Italian restaurant afterwards. And this is on him because it was probably a delicious chicken parm. However, he uploaded a picture of his plate and it was super dark. It was like not great composition. Like it wasn't the best food photo. So then his Twitter followers were just like,
Okay.
that does not
Fred.
look good, Evan.
What are your thoughts on taking pictures of your food and posting it?
I hate it, but my son would say, phone eats first. That's his, that's what the kids do.
I have albums of my phone.
Yeah,
filled.
they take
like
pictures.
look at my Instagram story from
They
last
get their
night.
meal,
I,
and the first thing they do is they take a picture of and then they tweet it out.
I never get it.
I made
No.
meatballs last night.
I don't care what you're eating.
And I posted it on my Instagram.
Like, I don't even
story.
care if you want to tell me, like, oh, I went out to dinner last night. I had this great chicken parm. That's fine. Like, why do you have to take a picture of
Like,
it?
I can see, like, if you, spent 3 hours
Like, is
in the
that a
kitchen
flex?
That was
cooking
me
something,
yesterday.
and then, the finished product, you took a picture. But if you go out to a restaurant, why do you need to take a picture of the plate that you just got put in front of you?
Does the Italian approve?
Did
Of
you make
course.
that?
Sure did.
Yeah.
But I can't approve based off sight. This is my whole point.
Yeah. What if it tastes like crap?
Right.
Tasted delicious.
Yeah. So anyway.
No, you eat with your eyes too.
Yeah.
That's why presentation's so important at
It's
Michelin
true.
star restaurants.
That's
I
true.
do think presentation is important, but you can't just judge how good something is.
Well, it's
No,
not the
looking
but
only
at
thing, but it is
it sets you
important.
up. Like if it looks really good, you trick your mind
Yes.
into
Then
it.
you get
It's not good.
disappointed.
Psychologically.
Right.
Then you get disappointed
You
when
could
you
be.
eat it.
You could be. Carly is writing in. My husband goes by Ian from Virginia when he calls or emails. He's a huge fan of your podcast and, of course, the Patriots. He listens to your podcast live every Tuesday and
Sounds like
Thursday
a birthday shout out
and
coming
repeats
up, Alex.
episodes every day. His birthday is today, February 27th, and would love to if you could wish him a happy birthday from his wife, Carly from Virginia, on the episode. So happy birthday,
Ian.
Ian.
Mr. President.
Right. Somebody knocking at
Someone's
the door.
knocking.
Just
Should I
knocked.
get it?
Yeah, there's another. You can't come in this way. So happy birthday, Ian. So actually, I got this email last week, and I was really good to keep it under wraps until the correct day.
Oh.
Wow.
Like I was thinking all week, I'm going to screw this up. I'm going to read it on Tuesday, and
Or
it's not going to be
forget
the right
it.
day.
Ian in Virginia.
Yeah, but happy birthday, Ian, from your wife,
That's a
not
good
from
wife.
us.
That was rude.
Yeah. All right, we'll take a break. My food's here. We'll be right back after this.
I don't know. Someone though. Whoever those people are.
There's a cast of millions.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
With FedEx One Rate, you can ship to your student for a simple, predictable flat rate. Send a box full of home-baked treats that say, "Your father and I miss you." Or send a box full of instant noodles that says, "Your father and I would like you to stop asking us for money." Either way, one rate fits all. FedEx One Rate. 2-day shipping, one flat rate. Starting at $14.50. Visit FedEx.com/OneRate for details. Exclusions apply.
Hello, everyone. Hello. How's it going? Welcome to another Combine. It's great to be back here in Indianapolis. This is my 31st Combine. Started coming here in 1994 when I was 11 years old. So, it's really cool to see how this thing has developed and grown in a lot of ways. It's been really cool and rewarding so far working with Coach Rabel. He has a lot of great ideas, a vision for the team, an effort that we're all working together. He's met with the scouts, he's met with me, he's met with everybody, and just kind of, it's all authentic and genuine, and it's really good to see just how he's developed and how we're all going to develop this thing together moving forward. That being said, last season, ultimately the roster was on me. We were 4-13. Just didn't get enough done. Certainly the free agency class didn't live up to our expectations. The draft class, it's too soon to tell, but we were expecting a bigger impact from some of those guys, and we're still hopeful that they'll get to that point. We're excited about Drake May. We're excited about working with Coach Rabel, and everything that we're doing is to improve this football team and getting to where we need to go. The fans understanding their frustrations. I share those frustrations. It's been difficult. Every hit on Jacoby or Drake during the season, I felt responsible for that. Just ultimately, we didn't get enough done up front. The game is always won on the lines, offensive line, defensive line. Not just because of the Super Bowl. It's always been that way. And ultimately, just didn't do enough to improve the roster to get it to where we need it to be. So that being said, again, just really excited about Coach Rabel and the direction and vision that he's provided, and working together with these guys and getting this thing going. Yeah, I mean, it's an advantageous position. I'd say there's maybe less clarity this year about what's going to happen in front of us. But there's some good players available, and we're open to anything. We're open to moving down. We're open to moving up. We're open to sitting there and picking. Just whatever the case may be in terms of making the team better. Absolutely, yeah. I think it's definitely advantageous to try to build that roster out and get as much as we can, whether that's middle class of the roster, upper class. There's only so many elite free agents, and there's probably 27 teams looking at those guys. Certainly, we feel like we're a more attractive destination this year than we were last year, and we're excited to fill the roster out and get the depth and get to where we need to be so we can use that pick on the best player available.
And who had the final say? You said it's a collaborative effort, but at the end it's me. What's the scenario this year? Is it still that way?
Yeah, it's similar. I would just say, listening to Coach Rabel, there's not a lot of GMs or people in my position in this business that are going to force players on coaching staff. Certainly the best decisions are made together. And, going to continue to work with Mike and Ryan and Stretch and the scouting staff, Richard Miller, everybody to make those decisions the best we can for the team.
How much of your recruiting pitch is going to revolve around Drake May?
Offensively quite a bit, but defensively some as well. Drake showed tremendous improvement throughout the season. There's still, plenty of room to grow, but having that guy in place is paramount to our success, and we're really excited about the future that he can bring to our organization.
Look at Travis Hunter, and how much can he potentially play on both sides of the ball in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, Travis Hunter's a tremendous prospect. As a number of these guys are. He's obviously been very unique, won the Heisman Trophy playing both ways. He's really unique and instinctive at both positions. So I think there's a scenario where he's probably going to major in one and minor in the other. But I think there's a scenario where he could play both ways.
How the college football landscape has changed so much and evolved, if maybe say evolved, with nil money, with transfer portals, with guys playing longer, with more people you can talk to evaluate these guys. Do you see a distinct group of guys that might be more NFL ready because they're more seasoned?
Yeah, I think every case can be different. Certainly the information that we can get, now instead of getting information from one school and one pro liaison, a lot of these guys have transferred 2-3 times, so we're getting information from, 3 different places, from their high school coaches, 3 different strength coaches. So, just the information flow is better, and we feel more convicted in the information that we receive.
You're not going to be you're not going to want to force any players on Mike or the coaching staff. Just to clarify, do you have final say on the 53-man roster?
Ultimately, it's my final say, but again, Mike said it yesterday. Mike wouldn't have taken this job, and this is something we talked about in the interview process. Mike wouldn't have taken this job if we weren't comfortable with each other. There's not going to be Mike's guys or Eliot's guys. They're going to be Patriot guys, and we're excited to share the vision to work together to improve the roster.
On the offensive line, where do you view Michael and Gwen's ideal fit?
I think ideally Mike is a guard, but again, some of those decisions haven't been, made yet. Obviously, Mike has played tackle for Josh. Doug Marone, I don't believe has even met him yet. So, we're going to get to the point where we'll make the best decision for the team.
Do you think you need clarity on his position as you address the line?
I think that would be, certainly helpful to Mike and helpful to all of us as we, develop a strategy moving forward.
Position that years in free agency, as you described it last year, inform how you operate in free agency this year?
I think maybe just being more thorough. Just some of the information that we got on some of the players, wasn't as thorough as it needed to be. So I think just moving forward, we have a tremendous opportunity with this coaching staff. Like a lot of these guys have been other places. They're familiar with these guys, and just having that familiarity with players is going to be an advantage for us moving forward.
We saw how, expensive that market was in free agency last year. Why are teams investing so much in that position?
Yeah, I just think the ability to wreck a game. I mean, these guys that are elite up front, pushing the middle of the pocket, making the quarterback move, get off the spot. Like there's a premium on those guys, and that's why you see some of these guys, getting paid and being drafted earlier, and because of the impact they can have on all three downs.
Two for you.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to be frivolous. We're going to do what we think is best, and we're going to again, we have to do what's necessary. So last year we didn't do enough of what was necessary. This year we have to do what's necessary to improve the team.
We're weaponizing the offense. Can you reflect back? What went wrong with that process, and how aggressive do you need to be to help Drake May this time around?
Yeah, I mean, I think we took some swings, and again, taking swings ultimately isn't good enough. We went 4-13. We have to have results, and so we took some swings at some of those guys and came up short, and that's not an excuse. That's just what happened. So we need to continue to improve the roster, whether they're weapons, whether it's the line, whether it's the defense, just in all phases.
Cap space this offseason. Do you expect to spend up to or close to up to the cap spot?
I think again, I just think we're going to do what we have to do. I think it's probably not responsible to spend the whole thing, but again, that's not to say we won't do it if there's a player out there that or obviously players out there that can fill a role for us.
Position or two for you in this draft class that maybe stands out above the rest?
I think it's really deep on the defensive line. I think it's really, really deep at running back. Tight end is a good year. So, those are some of the positions that stand out.
Last season on the defensive spine, what's your outlook on that part of the defense moving forward?
Yeah, again, not an excuse, but unfortunately losing Barmore, losing Bentley, Duggar and Peppers had their, issues, with injuries and things during the season. So, we're hopeful those guys are going to come back for us and help stabilize that area. But again, we need to support them and develop the depth on the roster to be able to compete at a higher level.
And now, great moments in history.
Paul, what I'm hoping for is that the league handles training camp much like they did the draft, and they give mandates for every team to do it a certain way, and that takes the pressure off.
I think we'll be able to cover it like that.
Yeah.
We'll be able to get interviews with the coaches and the players online, but I don't think we're going to be able to watch the practice.
That'll be really poor.
I don't think we're going to be able to. I don't think we're going to be able to be there.
Yeah.
We need
Why, you don't watch practice anyway.
I do too. I come out,
and even when you do, you don't know what you're seeing.
Oh, shut up.
Here we go.
What do you think? It was going to be a serious time in the country, and I was going to let you off the hook?
How many? I make my judgments, and they all end up being accurate.
That's a slogan.
Yeah, they all end up being.
You didn't even believe it as he was saying it.
That's another great moment from
Patriots Unfiltered. All right, back here on Patriots Unfiltered. From what I understand, Evan and Deuce are queued up in Indy. Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey guys, how are ya?
We have a lot to talk about. And the first one is, well, when's the last time you've been to a Starbucks in Indy?
I was just at the scene of the crime this morning, and I
How's
got
everything?
away unscathed, so we're good.
Ev, was there a chalk outline of Rappaport's body?
There wasn't, but like I swear to God, there was people there that were actually just taking pictures of the Starbucks just to tweet out the picture of being at the Starbucks.
They should get a sign.
I'm dead
and
serious.
They should get like a plaque sign outside, like this is what happened.
So, but I was just wondering if there's any chance that either of you were a witness to this incident.
I mean, it would have been Mr. Coffee over here.
Yeah, no, I had already been gone for the day at the Starbucks, but it's a great spot if you just want to hang out there and just kind of people watch at the JW. It is a nice spot.
No, I've
to do
been
that.
there. It's on the second floor there, like yeah.
Yep,
but
exactly.
But what's the repercussions? Is it still a big news story going on? And have they set up the pay-per-view fight yet?
We got to ask. There's a lot of NFL Network employees wandering around doing interviews around here, so we'll try to get to the bottom of it. But Evan and I have been very concerned with Travis Hunter and the cornerbacks and the tight end class today, of course.
Yeah, well, that's safety in numbers for the NFL Network. They have to make sure they protect him so he doesn't have to call security every time. So you guys started talking a little bit about the corners and whatnot. Before we move to Travis Hunter, any updates on Abdul Carter, and what's the sort of the scuttlebutt as to whether or not this will have any kind of an impact on his status?
Well, Paul, first of all, I'm glad you used the word.
On this one.
I'm glad you used the word scuttlebutt because we've been using the word scuttlebutt all day today. It was our word of the day on the rap podcast. So somehow you kept that going. So I appreciate that.
It's not because I heard you say
Paul,
it.
we
I can
did see
promise you
that. I know. Well, I know, because it's not out yet. I'm sure you'll watch it as soon as it's out, as you do with all of our content that we write and produce. But yeah, we did see that report about Abdul Carter, and speaking with some people, some sources, if you will, not a big deal. Not a big deal. Hasn't been known to be a long-term impact kind of injury. Not known to drop guys. Draft status. Is what I'm hearing. So as much as we hope that maybe this might be the thing that might drop him down to 4th overall, it doesn't sound like it's going to be a huge factor that's going to be a long-term problem for him.
Okay.
Yeah, Fred and I got that one right.
Yeah.
That's good.
What else is going on over there?
Unfortunately.
Who have you...
Well, we just...
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we did see Travis Hunter. Huge gathering around him. Very short and to the point. Wouldn't answer, a lot of people go around here asking, have you met with the Patriots? Have you met with the Jets? That there are those people. He refused to answer any of those questions. He just would plead the fifth on that. But he looks like a dude. I mean, I think Evan will agree. There's, always a handful of guys here at the Combine that you look up there and you're like, this guy's going to be a player in the league. And he had that kind of charisma and presence.
Okay.
Now, you didn't have that same feeling, Mike, and I would agree with you. I'm not throwing you under the bus, with Mason Graham.
Right. No, I know. And especially with the news about Godshaw, too. I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting how they might not have any defensive linemen right now. I mean, there's uncertainty with Barmore. There's uncertainty with Devon Godshaw. I mean, you're looking at basically Jeremiah Farms is your defensive line right now. So even if you're not thrilled with Mason Graham not looking like an off-the-bus guy, I think you got to consider him a little bit closer now today than you might have yesterday. Even, not that I thought that Godshaw was the answer or even like they're anything close to the same kind of player, but they just need bodies at that spot. So, everything I think you're hearing, I'm sure you guys have been seeing some of the rumors coming out, is that they want to address the trenches, and I assume that they're going to be aggressive on that defensive line before the draft, and then they still might take Mason Graham. So,
right.
I was thinking about the guy from Detroit who played under Terrell, Levi Onwuzurike.
We'll go with that.
I can't get you know what I'm talking about. But a guy like that who's a free agent could definitely make sense.
So it's Campbell or it's Graham. Who do you pick at 4?
I think we're both on Campbell right now.
Yeah, we'll see what Campbell, when he talks on Saturday. But I think the big thing, Juice was talking about it with Travis Hunter. There's a lot of appeal to just that bravado, that gravitas, that guy that can command a room and has all that confidence and charisma. for a team like the Patriots that needs that sort of jolt. Like, I feel like they need that jump, and maybe it doesn't come from Travis Hunter necessarily, but I feel like Will Campbell, from everything that you've heard about him, the leadership and the attitude and all that kind of stuff, he's one of those types of guys too. So I don't want to make too big of a deal of podium press conferences at the Combine, but I do look at those guys and say, for a team like the Patriots that needs leadership, that needs a culture change, like those types of players are attractive in this draft.
Did you guys have a chance to hear from anybody else today that sort of caught your eye, impressed you? I know Tyler Warren, I think I saw on Twitter earlier. Anybody stand out to you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think what stood out to me was Colston Loveland being in a giant arm brace.
Yeah, I saw
which
that.
Sent me to do some research on him. Looks like he had AC reconstructive surgery. It sounded like he's not going to be able to do any contact for at least 6 months. So I know Evan's been really high on him. I mean, I think he's right up there with Warren with his athleticism. So that's, we keep talking about some of these injuries. Can it kick some guys down to where the Patriots might be able to select them? And I think that's something Evan and I have talked about a little bit, is there's some appeal in the tight end class. It doesn't sound like they love the wide receivers in free agency or in the draft. So, maybe they do take one of these tight ends. It seems like there's a few of them that could maybe make an impact right out of the gate.
And, getting back. Yeah, go ahead, Evan.
No, I just we talked to Mason Taylor from LSU a little bit too, and interesting story, with Jason Taylor being his father, and Mike Vrabel and Jason Taylor were in the same draft class in 1997. So he said that in his meeting with the Patriots here at the Combine with Vrabel, they were kind of going back and forth and trash talking a little bit about his dad and things like that. So he's a talented player too, and obviously has the NFL bloodline. So if you're looking for somebody on day 2 a little bit further down the board than Warren and Colston Loveland, then Mason Taylor is getting a lot of buzz right now on that day 2 range.
Okay. So guys, I want to give you a little information. You might have already heard this, but as you know, no matter what the subject matter is on Patriots Unfiltered, chances are there's a caller or listener that has some inside info. And when it comes back to this Rappaport story, not to do with him and Jason Schultz, but with Brady and Stafford, we had somebody from Montana who called in and said it's highly likely that this, where they met up, was a place called the Yellowstone Club, which is an exclusive resort. Have you heard this?
Well, when my old bosses in California used to go to the Yellowstone Club, and they would see Brady there all the time. So that was absolutely seems possible to me that he was there. I can't speak to Stafford, but I know that place.
He was saying it's a highly, highly exclusive club. You don't just show up and go skiing or hang out in the club. You either own property there, as Brady does, I believe, or you're invited by somebody who owns property there. So he's saying it's highly unlikely that it was a chance meeting. But, again, that's
fair. That's exactly what my old bosses do. And they used to have to take a private plane there. They told me about, you basically have the ski mountain to yourself. I mean, it's no lines, anything like that. There's also just a giant arcade. I mean, it's like Disneyland for adults in this ski resort. So, but that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, have you guys dove into that? We haven't been paying that much attention.
No, we don't know, and we don't know that that's where they were.
Controversy there?
Yeah, well, I mean,
tampering.
That's why do you think that the NFL Network came out so quickly to say they just happened to bump into each other? Nothing to see here.
Whoa.
Nothing to see here. Move along.
Right.
So yes, I think there was probably some tampering going on, Deuce.
Yeah.
Can this keep going on with Brady, like him being an owner and a broadcaster? It seems like there are conflicts popping up.
I agree, Deuce. I think he's on thin ice. I think just eventually.
Fred thinks this, if he was with the Patriots, it would be fine.
It would be okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Me too.
All right. So what else do you have? Because we need to get back to the show. No, I'm only kidding. And anything else before we let you go?
What else? What else can we share?
Well, I feel like we touched on Travis Hunter a little bit, but I think the one thing you take away from what's going on here with Travis Hunter is there's a lot more people that keep on saying he's a wide receiver over a cornerback.
I heard your buddy Alex talking about that this morning, Ev. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It's really. There's a lot more people, and I think Andrew Berry of the Browns, the general manager there in Cleveland, he said it publicly in his press conference that the Browns have him on their board as a wide receiver. And ever since then, everybody feels a little bit more comfortable to put their flag on Travis Hunter being a wide receiver, and that's becoming a very popular take here at the Combine, which is interesting because everybody says he has better cornerback tape. But I think just the impact that he can make at receiver for your team is just a lot higher than it is for a cornerback, just from a positional value standpoint. So that's a one that's definitely going around now, is that the more and more people are coming out of the woodwork saying that he's a wide receiver.
And I just add, we didn't talk to you guys yesterday, but the defensive line class, the linebackers, there's just a lot of really intriguing players, and it's a little bit frustrating because you want a bunch of them, but I think they've got to find a way to get some of these guys. We talked to Eliot a little bit about it yesterday, trying to figure out, who's the right fit, what kind of style, and everything continues to point towards, and I heard Paul talking about this earlier in the show, of they're kind of shifting their defensive style, and this is going to be more a, go get the quarterback, stop the run on the way to the quarterback kind of thing, less build the wall, two-gapping, and I also heard you guys talking about Godshot with that stuff as well. So I think they're going to have to remake the defensive line, and it's probably the right year in the draft to do it.
I know he's not a lineman, but Harold Landry is might be available. You guys interested in him?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I would be interested in him. And we talked a little bit about that on Catch 22 yesterday, because going with that Commanders model of trying to get, 8, 10 just capable quality starters, I feel like even though he's not necessarily a superstar player, Harold Landry would fit into that category of a veteran guy that's done it, that has production in the league. He's still only 28 years old, so obviously the familiarity with Vrabel, there's a lot of reasons to like that one. I kind of like that one more than some of the other veteran, at the end of their career options that are being thrown out there. I would probably go with Harold Landry.
Okay.
Yeah, we're all in agreement on that one.
Are you guys eating well?
Well, some of us didn't eat so well earlier in the week, and we're paying the price for it the last couple of days. So, but we did have, thank you to No Socks and to Ashok, who made the run to Shapiro's for some sandwiches here today, and got me back on track. I feel like after taking down a turkey Reuben. So I can't speak for Evan. I've been on kind of my own journey here in Indianapolis.
Okay.
Without getting into too much detail.
Speaking of journeys, Evan. Your friend Barth,
yes.
At this point, have you talked to him about his expectations? Would you say so far, did the Combine meet his expectations, a little disappointing, or exceed his expectations?
I haven't gotten a straight answer from him on that. I'll ask him for you, but I would say it's got to be exceeds. Last night was certainly a good night for Barth. He had the shrimp cocktail for the first time at St. Elmo's, so that was an experience. The night before was probably even more of an experience, but we'll save that for another time. But he's had a very good combine. I told him last night was really like he did the combine last night. Like he had the cocktail sauce. He went to Prime 47 a little bit afterwards, so he really nailed it.
2 nights ago, might he have visited an establishment for men?
No.
Oh, no? Oh,
no,
okay.
He's grinding. He's making radio appearances at like 10:30 at night. Then he wakes back up and he's back on the radio at 7:30.
I heard him this morning.
I look back.
Absolutely.
We're back in our hotels at like 7 p.m. He's doing a podcast. I mean, he's. I think he's really staking his claim here in Indy. So he's doing a great job.
The one other little Barth nugget for you guys. Last night he's on the phone doing a radio hit at night. And we were migrating, from relocating. Let's put it to you that way, from one spot to another. And someone's voice might be on 98.5 yelling for Alex to hurry up so that we can get in the Uber to go to the next spot. So someone made an impromptu appearance on 98.5 The Sports Hub last night. So there you go.
All right. Sounds like you're having fun, doing a lot of work. What's next? What do we have to look forward to for tomorrow and the weekend?
Yeah, well, we're excited. We're gonna we have access to the workouts now, so I think Evan and I this afternoon are gonna head over and take some of those in person. So those will be the defensive line and the linebackers, and then tomorrow's kind of a big day with the quarterbacks, the wide receivers, and the running backs. A lot of people saying the running back class really solid this year, so excited to hear from them. And then that'll be it. We're tapping out tomorrow night, so another wrap-up pod coming this afternoon, one tomorrow, and a couple write-ups. Evan will be writing up the workouts. So yeah, we're getting close to the end, but not quite, so we still got a bunch to do.
Yeah, Fred, we got your guy on tomorrow with us, the Beast. Dan Brugler is going to be on
wow.
the Draft Countdown podcast.
We couldn't find anyone from our lads, but we'll keep looking.
Hub wasn't available. I just want to make sure you two guys, the buddy system at all times. I don't want Jordan Schultz cornering either one of you guys at a Starbucks. So stay together, buddy system. I can't afford to lose any personnel.
Right.
We'll be careful.
All right, guys. Thanks for calling in. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
All right, Evan and Deuce from Indy.
It's so funny listening, and I know they're joking around and we're having a lot of fun at Alex's expense, but listening to Alex talk about this stuff, I've heard a couple of his, because he has been on Felger and Maz a lot. He was on this morning with Toucher and Hardy, and he just sounds so excited all the time. It's just he actually said, like, when you're just walking down the street and you're seeing the coaches and the GMs, the guys that you see on TV.
Right.
Yeah, this is Hollywood for him.
Right.
Evan.
And it's like, like you ran into Andrew Berry, the general manager of the Cleveland Browns. Like,
no, this is his.
It's not like he's at the Yellowstone Club in Montana and he's seeing actual celebrities.
No, this is his Academy Awards night. Like,
Yes,
literally, it's like the
very
Oscars.
much.
Yeah, he's in the audience with all the big stars. So good for him. Let's see. John writes in from Nova Scotia. Fred and Paul, you are like two stereotypical old guys. You keep talking over Alex.
Oh,
other than that, keep up the good work.
I haven't really noticed that. The stereotypical old guys, absolutely.
Yeah. Are we talking over you, do you think?
Have we talked over you? I apologize for that.
You can say if we are.
Certainly, probably, but I'll just repeat myself. It's okay.
Yeah. Not that we're going to stop, but you can tell us if we're.
Trying to teach you guys where the billionaires hang out.
You can also just say, shut up, I'm talking. Go ahead and say that.
You could do that.
We'll save that for when it's really necessary, but it'll probably get ripped out at one point.
Yeah, do that to me. I would
Okay.
suggest doing it to me, not to Fred. You never
All
know
right.
when Fred's woke up on the wrong
Might
side
be
of
in
the
a
bed.
mood.
Let's go to the TPX hotline until March 1st. Dan is in Colorado. What's up, Dan?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I have a story I wanted to share with you guys really quick. This is going to be mainly for Paul and Fred. Now, I disliked Eric the appropriate amount as much as anyone did. I loved giving him crap just as much as anyone. However, there is something that he may have been right about that completely blew my mind in the moment. So this past summer, my wife and I went on our honeymoon. We went to Italy for 2 weeks. It was very nice. And one of the places we stayed was in Verona, which is one of the wine countries in Italy. And as we were doing some wine tours, we're coming to the end of the day. We see this winery that looks like it's closing out. We go for a tasting. We meet the owner. He's really nice. He takes us back to give us a bottle of wine, to open a bottle of wine for us. I wouldn't believe it. The second he opened the bottle of wine, the first thing he did was sniff the freaking cork. I'm not kidding you. And so I stopped the guy.
You should have left immediately.
And I demanded to know why he sniffed the cork. I couldn't stop thinking of Eric in that moment. And he explained to me how supposedly, yes, you can smell impurities in the wine or something like that. But either way, he said it and did it in such a douchey Eric way that, like, I couldn't help but just laugh the whole time. And so I spent the rest of my honeymoon completely mind blown that Eric might have been right, that you do actually sniff the cork for a reason.
Okay.
I've been waiting for months to share that story with you guys. They felt like a good day to do it.
That's great stuff.
That's awesome.
All right.
Thanks,
Dan. Appreciate that. You know, do you hear about that, Alex? That long-standing argument we had?
No.
I've been told by sommeliers,
Mhm.
you know what that is, of course, because you're sophisticated.
Let them mansplain wine
that
to you
that
now.
the whole sniffing of the cork is, you don't need to do that.
Okay, so it's performative.
Yeah, but Eric was dead. No, you have to do
Okay.
it. So we've gone back and forth, for a long time on that.
Yes.
And people have called in with, yes,
One
you
way
do.
or the other.
Right.
You gotta just keep smelling it now.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I don't think either one of us ever claimed that Eric's pomposity was unique to him. Like, there's a lot of pompous people on the planet.
Oh, sure.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So evidently Dan and
Dan ran into
his
one.
wife ran into one.
Right. Right. No, but I mean, listen, I don't know, but I was told by a sommelier that you don't need to sniff the cork. Yeah.
A lot of schooling goes into that. I'd probably trust the sommelier.
Yeah, he said like if the wine has gone bad, you're gonna know it. Like when you open up the bottle, you know.
You a big wine drinker, Alex?
I like wine. It's probably one of my top 3 choices if I'm gonna drink. It's probably a red wine.
I like it when somebody has the wine glass and they do this, and then they just take their whole face and they put it in, and they
spit it out.
No. They smell.
At a tasting.
Like they take they smell like they're really into it.
Hardo.
Yeah, Hardos. So,
performative.
Yeah.
Just drink the wine.
I just know like
is the good
if
word
it comes
for
with
like
Eric.
no one who actually knows that much about wine. Like if you're that involved with it, you're probably not going to make a big show out of it, right?
I just know if it comes with a screw top, it may not be that good.
Right.
Yeah.
Or in a box.
Yeah.
You really want to stay away from the box.
From the box. Yeah.
Justice I have
no formal artistic training.
But I will tell you, like
Boone's
I am far from a wine connoisseur or expert, but Bledsoe's premium Cabernet.
You said it's really good.
It's excellent. You can tell the
Doubleback,
difference.
Right?
You can tell the difference.
Did I tell you that Will and his girlfriend drank my bottle of Bledsoe wine?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Were you pissed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at least if it was going to get open, I was going to drink it.
Do you need another one? I got it in.
As long as you can get it for the bagel.
No.
I'll take a bottle.
No. Because his thing
I
is
can call an
now,
order
so
for
I'm on like the list because I bought a couple times.
Yeah.
And they'll come out, okay, we just came out with our 2025, cab or whatever. But you have to buy like a minimum of like 5 bottles or something like that. And each bottle is like over $200. I'm not doing that.
Well,
I don't
to
drink
ship
that
it to
much
you,
wine.
It probably has to be.
Yeah, I don't drink that much wine.
Plus, he autographed it for me.
Yeah, well, that's
Man.
Gone.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Your son opened.
Oh.
I don't want to get your son in trouble, but like.
He's special.
He saw that it was autographed and still.
I'm assuming he didn't see that part of it, but.
Yeah, I'd be pissed too.
He's not even with that girl anymore.
Unreal. She doesn't even know what she drank, probably. The significance. That's crazy.
I'm over it.
Ryan writes in, I've been listening for the last 5 years, and like everyone else, have their favorite callers on this show, and some that rub me the wrong way. But is there anyone even remotely close to how terrible Christian in LA is?
Wow. Wow.
Listener on listener crime. Like it.
It's like Jordan Schultz and Ian Rappaport.
The only thing more out of touch than his tax bracket comment is his football acumen. His rehearsed questions and clueless follow-ups are the worst part of the show. He's the type of person who starts talking to you about sports at a bar and you need to move 2 stools over. We don't know how you made that tax bracket, but we're confident you didn't make your fortune in sports.
I would agree with the tax bracket comment.
Did he actually say he's in that tax bracket?
No, I think he ended up saying he works for somebody who's in that tax bracket or something like that.
Yeah.
But I thought he brought the question today was about the draft, like moving in the draft. I thought there was some good conversation that came out of that.
No, Christian was fine today.
Yeah.
But we just.
I mean,
I'll always
douchey
read the listener on listener email.
Oh, I'm here for it.
I mean, that's good. That's
and
good
if
theater.
Christian has a rebuttal, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, now you got to fire back, Christian.
Yeah, that's good theater.
Serve and volley.
Let's see. Spee in Fresno writes in, first, on Fred's distinction between surgery versus a procedure.
Yes.
On Monday, I had an outpatient surgical procedure where I went completely under, including intubation, but was able to walk out of the hospital the same day. So was that surgery or a procedure? That's a procedure.
Intubation?
Yeah.
That sounds like
you
surgery
walked
to
out
me.
that day.
So it's strictly, I love a peek into Fred's soul.
Yeah.
That's the sole criteria.
Yeah.
If you're able to do it in one day.
I mean,
so basically the time of day that you have the surgery
So listen,
is the whole
technically
determinant?
all procedures are a surgery. I get it. But in my mind, if you're in and out in a day, then
See, I think if you go completely
don't worry
under,
about it.
If you're like, it's not just a local anesthetic. You have like real.
Yeah.
You're
I've been put
out.
under for a day. I mean, gone out that same day.
And that's just a
I had
procedure.
like one of those mesh hernia things you had to put in.
Yeah, I think that's a surgery.
All right, but I think it's a procedure because I was
Okay.
it was like I was fine. I walked out.
You want to break the tie?
What about like a facelift?
Procedure.
Pretty
Unless you're in
extensive.
the unless you're
Or a
like
nose job, also pretty extensive.
yeah, procedure.
They do call it elective surgery.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like the barometer for me is, do you absolutely need it? Surgery. Is
That's
it
a whole different take?
not? Is it
Okay.
maybe like you could maybe get by without it for a little bit, but you're just gonna go clean up the knee? Procedure.
Okay.
I don't know. I just formed this opinion
My thing
5
is,
minutes ago.
I know you. Can you die on the table? That's a surgery.
So
Well, you can die on.
I know. I'm only
no,
kidding.
but I'm gonna. Yeah, that's.
Like how many people go for aesthetic surgery?
But let's
and
go
it's
to
elective
Alex's.
and-
So if you tear your ACL, you don't need it. I know a lot of people that have torn their ACLs. They've been walking around for 25 years. Well, 2 people.
Yeah.
But if you get the surgery,
surgery.
That's a surgery.
that's it's a major surgery,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But you don't need it.
You need it to play again.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like in
Like
regular
an
people,
average Joe like us.
right?
You still might need the surgery.
Like I had a girlfriend who tore her ACL her senior year of high school. She played 4 years of college, and this was like 10 years later. She still hadn't had it done.
Huh. But it is a surgery
because she wasn't,
Yeah.
going pro or anything, and needed to have an intact ACL to live her life.
Right. Remember who was it? Jimmy Hitchcock.
He had no ACL.
He had no ACLs.
Right.
Player on a team, cornerback.
Wow.
Yeah. See, I remember some people.
You do.
Yeah.
But you're very much like me. We're back to the
Well, that was-
original
it's
premise.
impressive
The
'cause
2
it's-
old guys.
It's that's why it's impressive. It's like before all the medical technology and stuff. Like you couldn't
Yeah.
just go to Germany or Mexico to get or Costa Rica to get like stem cells injections or
Right.
whatever else they're doing now.
Spee goes on. He said, second, the Adam Schefter, he means Ian Rappaport, Josh Schultz beef
Jordan.
is the best part of the offseason so far, though I'm speaking as someone who's bored to tears by mock draft season. I want the conflict to escalate into something even more ridiculous.
Me too.
Me too.
And have come up with some names for the coming bout. If it takes place at a Starbucks, the Frappuccino Face-Off, the Mocha Mayhem, the Starbucks Skirmish, the Grande Grudge Match, or the Venti Vendetta. If instead the slopes of Montana play host to the scuffle, Snowbound Showdown, Alpine Brawl, Frosty Fisticuffs, Powder Punch-Up, or Kashmir Clash. Okay.
Kashmir Clash, not bad.
Yeah.
But I definitely.
How about the Yellowstone Yahoo?
Definitely going to continue to monitor that situation. I
Oh,
want to
yeah.
see if it escalates.
Well, security's already been brought in, Paul. So I guess Ian Rappaport has 24-hour detail around him now.
Yeah.
So he's
Secret Service.
Yeah. So that's something, though, isn't it?
That's poor to
He
me.
called
He
security.
called security.
Well, first of all, like, okay, if I'm Jordan
Who do you
Schultz,
think you are?
like if I'm Jordan Schultz, okay, I want to talk to this guy, but you don't confront him like that. You like you
Well,
do
there's
it in a
Well, you don't know how he
differing
was
op-
confronted.
Yeah,
no, but
there's
like
different
well,
stories.
But even like standing out in front of a Starbucks to do it, like wait until like he's
I don't
in
know.
the lobby and you sit on a couch next to him and you say, hey, I need to talk to you. You
If-
don't do it like
if
in front of
someone has
people.
Twitter fingers though, and you see them face to face, and you want to be like, "So what's up?"
No,
and they're going to be a little
No,
bored
I-
about it. Like, no, say
He did
your
this.
problem to
He
my
did
face.
this as a thing to promote Starbucks.
I don't. You think so?
Oh yeah, this is a ploy.
But then now people know he's his son.
This is why we need to take notes and learn from Fred.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
It's a ploy. How
That's
many
a
times
brilliant
have
line.
we, as a Duncan,
Let me make sure Howard
partner,
Schultz is still
mentioned
involved
a competitor?
in
I believe he's not.
This is what
I think
he
he's
did.
the former CEO.
He waited.
He
for,
founded it,
He
too.
waited for him to be at Starbucks, and he did it there to promote Starbucks. So that's it.
I think that's brilliant.
Former
Fred.
former CEO.
Oh, former CEO.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not the. No,
But
that
still,
kills it.
I'm sure he
maybe has stock, a lot of
I'm
stock.
sure he has
His
stake.
dad owned the Supersonics.
Huh?
His dad owned the Supersonics.
Owned.
Yes.
Not anymore.
No.
Okay.
Sold it.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
he's
they don't
probably
exist
wondering if he's
anymore.
going to be able to get a new Honda Accord.
Yep.
Like me.
Let's see. Will writes in from Kentucky. I'm pretty sure that Paul has the tampering thing wrong, and not by a little bit. teams can talk to teams about a player still under contract at any time, just no trades are possible until the legal tampering period begins. I don't think that's true. But he says
You can inquire about a player, but we're talking about
yeah,
the
talking
player's
to the player
availability.
or
Yeah.
the agent. That's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Couldn't find the exact words in the rule book. And NFL tampering is when a team contacts a player outside the league's permitted negotiation window. That's what we just said.
Right.
The league created the legal tampering period to prevent backdoor deals and to prevent a level playing field for teams. Yeah.
And again, if you want to make it innocent, I can understand it. And he's right. The emailer's right. Like if Robert Kraft is talking to Mike Brown and he's saying, "What are your plans with T. Higgins?" Like, that's not tampering.
Yep.
So the emailer's right. I understand that. But my assumption is more along the lines of it's not that innocent. You're sort of trying to find out what it's going to take to sign them. You're at, that kind of stuff. And you're talking to the representatives of Higgins. But the email is right. He's right.
Yep.
I'm wrong.
Trent in Sylvan Lake. As a grown man who wears his hat backwards, I had to chime in.
Mm-hmm.
Freddie, on Tuesday, you had a woman telling you that ladies like the backwards hat look, and you argued with her. That's like Evan arguing with Brad Stevens about the name of an arena in Indiana. Take it from the person who knows. But the bigger revelation was that Fred actually uses the peephole on his underwear to pee out of. I'm sorry, but that's insane.
I thought that was odd myself.
Oh, no. But do you wear Tommy John?
I wear boxers.
Right. So Tommy John has a patented thing, and it's pretty good.
Yeah, I would never.
But if you're
use
wearing
that.
your underwear backwards, it's of no use to you.
I understand that your problem was that they were on backwards.
Right.
But I would never use that.
Do you go through the zipper on your jeans too? You must have a couple
Never.
zipper scars. You don't?
Never.
You,
This is-
you
this is
unbuckle
where he's
the
getting at.
pants? What do you have them
Absolutely.
down in your ankles
No,
when you're
that's
at the
Cos-
urinal?
That's Costanza.
Yeah.
No,
but like,
I don't
what are
do
you
that.
doing? You don't you undo the whole thing?
Have you ever gotten it caught?
Just go over the top. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
when I was 4, I got it caught.
Thank you, Matt.
When I was 4, I got it caught.
I've never gotten it caught.
Okay.
And I never will.
But I haven't
Because
since
I never
I was
put
4.
I never put myself in jeopardy, Alex.
I haven't since I was 4.
Me and Maddie are just looking at each other.
Do you remember Everybody Loves the Mary? Remember when that scene was unbelievable? Did you ever see that movie?
No.
Oh, it's with Ben Stiller.
There's
What's the
something.
title of
There's
it?
something about Mary.
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh,
Is that a hair gel?
you have to see
I
that
guess I
movie.
have to now.
There's not a lot of movies. Like,
How'd
there's
they get the
movies where you
beans
go
ahead
to
of the
see in the
Franks?
theater and you laugh. But
Yeah.
this is one of the few movies where I lost it in the theater.
You know when everybody tells you, you have to have the stakes there. It's the
Yeah,
best.
you have to see Jaws.
This movie, like whatever whatever it is, it never lives up, right?
Mhm.
Everybody told me this is one of the funniest movies they've ever seen, and I was like, "There's no way." I'm going to see it, but I'm going to be disappointed. I was not disappointed.
Okay.
It was that funny.
It was one of the funniest movies I've ever seen in the theater.
Okay, I'll
Yeah.
report back.
There's definitely a correlation between kids who drop their pants all the way to the floor to pee and men who use the flap. Wow, so he's telling me I'm like that. I hate to bring Paul's little poll into this, but if he could start another tally, that would be great. Do you go over the underwear or through the door? I got to believe 95 to 99% of men go over the top rope. Thank you for the decades of energy. See, if I'm wearing tighty-whities, or when I used to wear those, I would. I would not go through the door. But I'm telling you, the Tommy Johns make it very convenient.
Yeah,
You don't have to get
said they have a
undressed to
patent
go to
and
the
everything.
bathroom.
But you go through the zipper too?
Yeah.
Oh, you just like roll the dice.
Yeah.
Just
Like I said,
living
it's been-
dangerously
it's
on
been
the
since
edge.
I was 4 years old that what happened to me
on
happened.
the edge. I
Yeah.
can't do it. I can't.
Okay.
Plus, I feel like
Yeah. All
it's a
right.
mess. Dripping issues.
Okay. Let's see. Travis in West Virginia says, once again, I had an issue with the email of the week. Not
Oh.
only was it a little long-winded, it was shameless butt kissing that should not be encouraged. And random, if you call Matt Groh Mac Rowe, no one would ever know the difference. I don't know what that means, but is he saying that Mac Rowe's kind of lost his stature in the organization? I don't know. I don't know what that means. My
So
TV
Matt, always over the top rope.
Always over the top. I would never risk that.
How about under the side?
But what kind of underwear do you wear?
Under the side, it's only happened after I'm working out.
Okay.
What kind of underwear do you wear?
I have boxers.
Okay. Well, usually boxers are easy.
I didn't say anything about
like the tighty whities are weird. You know, like they.
I haven't worn tighty whities since I was like 3.
Yeah.
Maybe, probably a little older than that.
Yeah.
Maybe 6.
See, I don't know. In some
It's
ways,
different for some men, I guess.
in some way, girls have it easier. Like, there's no decision to be made. You got to drop drawer,
Yeah, but
right?
you guys can go anywhere, as long as no one sees you.
That's
but you
true.
can go anywhere.
Yeah.
We can't.
Facts.
Yeah. I was with a girl one night. We're at the Compass Lounge in Dennisport. And she's like, I have to go to the bathroom. She went behind a car. I was appalled.
Oh.
Was the date over?
It's really tricky to do that.
Basically, yeah.
I've been with, not necessarily on dates, but I've been out with like my friends, and I've had girls do that. Go outside.
Yeah.
That's
but
risky.
discreetly.
Well, I could see,
really
birds of a
risky.
feather, Paul, but you, side of the road,
They.
Yeah. Jeez.
That was Panic Central.
I'll tell you.
And that was
I
an
could just-
You're gonna
that
end
was
up
an
on a list.
emergency.
Now, this is before you were, Patriots famous, right? Or was it? Could it be possible that someone was driving? Is that Paul?
Yes.
What is he
no,
doing?
it was before I was working for you.
Okay.
I was at the
Yeah.
Herald then.
Because that could have been an incident.
Yeah,
You know?
I would put it around 95,
Yeah.
6, 7 in that area.
Someone recognizes you and it
Could have
gets out there.
happened.
Yeah.
Could have
All of a sudden
happened.
you're on Barstool Sports.
Jack in Ann Arbor wants to know what the score of the Celtics-Pistons game was yesterday. His TV broke. They got blown out.
117-97.
Yeah, they did not play well.
Listen, it was the Celtics have been playing.
I don't want to hear the excuses.
No. I'm not going to make an excuse. I said the Celtics have been playing extremely well, and the Pistons have been playing extremely well. I think it was a much more important game for Detroit. I think they took it very seriously. I think that it was the second of a back-to-back for the Celtics, so I guess I am making a little bit of an excuse. I think it was kind of to be expected.
Yeah, well, a lot of people said it was a bad spot for them.
No Jaylen Brown.
I
Second
know.
night of a back-to-back.
Yeah.
Pistons red hot with something to prove.
But
I think that Pistons team, by the way, I don't know this year, but that's a team that's on the rise.
They are.
They've been on.
But
I've loved watching them.
I'm to the point with the Celtics, like they should win every night. Like I think they're that good if they play their game.
So I don't know
They
if
did
they're
that
that
last
good or
year,
if everybody else is that bad.
Huh?
I don't know if they're that. I
Well,
really only
whatever
think
it
there's
is.
like 3 teams that I think like I think OKC is that good.
Cavs.
Cleveland. I mean, Cleveland only has 10 losses. I mean, it is what it is.
No, I know.
But I think
And 2 of them are from the Celtics.
everybody else is just kind of meh.
Yeah.
Like there's no
No, that's true.
There's no really like the Knicks to me are as average can be. You know they're like 3 games behind the Celtics.
I know, but whenever they play a team like the good
This
teams,
is my
they lose.
That's exactly my point.
Right, 'cause
they
they're
have
on
the
it-
same record as the Celtics, yet can't beat a team that's good.
Right, you're right.
So what does that tell you?
You're right.
The league is full of bad teams.
You're right.
The
You're
Celtics
right.
will turn it on when they have to.
I hope so.
No, I think the Celtics have
They
played
didn't
fine.
need to run 100 every single game.
Yeah, I don't.
like
I
they
don't
did
like.
last
You don't
year,
get
know?
anything for that.
No.
Like you
I
know,
just
you
didn't
think
like that every
Golden
time they
State-
go in the paint, they turn it over last night. They had 19 turnovers. Come on.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna
disappointed.
We're gonna end the show with this email from Austin. It says double dose of Alexandra this week. Tell Deuce and Elaine they can stay in Indy. He's calling Evan Elaine.
I
He's
got
gonna come
that.
back and just have a new nickname and have no idea why.
Ladies and gentlemen, Elaine Bennis.
All right. That is
Are
going to
we
be
done?
it. Yeah, we're done.
Ugh.
Yep. That's going to be it for this edition of Patriots Unfiltered.
Sure don't want to talk about underwear more?
But Patriots.com and our social accounts will have all the stuff coming at you from Indy. So stay tuned with that, and we will see you next Tuesday.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.
The world's original podcast.